Thank you, Kristen. By the way, did you notice, I think we found out, was it yesterday that the AI assistant, is it Zoom AI assistant is transcribing as a summary automatically unless you turn it off?
Notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so is it off like always now? It's not every time you have a session?
Yeah, looks like it's the default as a courtesy in AI's mind, maybe.
Courtesy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm agnostic on it if you want to see what the summary looks like, what they think. But
Can't hurt to take a look at it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Wednesday, 22 October 2025, and this is a regular meeting of the Waterville Valley Select Board. I'm the chair, Rich Rita, Vice Chair Wendy Rathgeber, and Dan Bancroft, Select Board member, are present. So we have a quorum. So the first thing on the agenda is privilege of the floor, and I see one resident in attendance. Sir, do you have something you'd like to bring to our attention?
Yeah, I think I would. Don't use the.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind standing there and providing for the record and your name and address, that would be great.
Yeah, my name is Stephen Cantor, and we own the unit 510 at the Black Bear Lodge,
Okay,
and I'm on the board of directors there. I want to bring up an issue which I think affects the entire valley and also the lodges in particular. And this is the issue of the hockey groups. And we had hockey groups at the Black Bear Lodge this past weekend, and they were very, very noisy. Not only noisy, but the parents do a lot of drinking, and the children just wander around, some of them very young. They go through the corridors, screaming, knocking at doors. Now, they're not the only ones there. There are other guests there, and the owners are there too. One of the owners next door to me said, "What is she supposed to do?" She said she owns the unit. Is she supposed to go to a hotel? And people that come up here who are not on the hockey groups, they wouldn't come back because they have young children. Now, I talked to the general manager, and I said, I was in the elevator, and I could smell the breath of a father, and he was drinking very heavily. I said, there should be a restriction on drinking. He said, that's a town issue, and that should be brought up to the selectmen group. So that's why I came here. So it's my observation and the observation of others. And I think it gives the whole valley a black name if this continues. And my recommendation would be for some reason, somehow, to have a restriction on the drinking.
okay, well, thank you.
I, as a parent, would never have left my children like that, and I don't drink, so I just wanted to bring that up. And I do have this, it's a selectman ordinance number 28. It talks about drinking, but that's only within town buildings. And I think it should be extended to hotels and lodges also.
All right, well,
Okay.
thank you very much.
You're very
It's an issue we've heard before. You can certainly tell the person who asked what they could do is that they should call DPS.
Yeah,
And the numbers are available on the website. This was after hours. So just for the record, what's the best number to call after hours? I mean, you don't want to call 911, correct?
straight to,
You would call 911 for a noise complaint as well?
yeah.
Oh, all right.
I think even if you call our number that's listed, it goes to Grafton.
Yes.
If no one
Dispatch.
picks it up in the office, it gets routed.
It gets routed to
Yeah.
Grafton, because that's what I've done in the past, I think, is I call the duty,
Yeah.
the duty number.
Escapes me, but the duty phone.
The
Yeah.
duty, the officer on duty, but you can certainly tell it, and they will dispatch somebody to check on the noise complaint.
Maintenance staff. And the maintenance staff have jerseys that say security. And I was told that they've taken a course in security. But I would never advise them to confront people who are drinking. And the front desk sometimes is, staffed by, females, you don't wanna have them.
Okay,
Uh, one recommendation I would have is that the lodges get together and just pay for a policeman to go through one lodge after the other. People will respond to policemen, but not to, maintenance.
sure.
Can I ask, Mr. Cantor? Can I just ask, do you know if anyone did call the Department of Public Safety over the weekend?
That I don't know,
Okay.
they may,
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we could certainly
Yes.
check on that.
yeah, but they could come and then leave and then the drinking starts again.
Yeah, with regard to drinking, I don't think frankly, there's anything the town can do about people drinking unless they become rowdy or somehow a threat to the public,
A nuisance.
a nuisance or a threat to the public. Thank
Yeah.
you. I don't see any way we could restrict people from drinking if they're the appropriate age.
But it's certainly something we could follow up with DPS.
Yeah, I mean, we will talk to them. I mean, it's not surprising, as I've said at the outset. This is a complaint we regularly get once hockey teams are in town. And unfortunately, as DPS has said, it's often the problem stems from, when there are problems, stems from the parent, not necessarily from the kids. And I would also say that I think the Hockey Academy works very hard to deal with these issues. It would be after the fact, but if there's a group, a team that's known to be a nuisance or making too much noise, they will ban them.
Right.
And we've talked to them about that, and I think they've been, according to Chief Payer and Chief Noyes, they've been very proactive in doing that. So there are some measures in place to help with the problem that you're describing, but
Yeah, but doesn't this affect the income coming into the valley? If guests in the valley see these kinds of things, they certainly would prefer to go elsewhere.
I wouldn't disagree with that. It's very much a possibility. Okay. Thank you, Dan, or
Do we
Wendy,
know
you
if
want to say
the
that?
hockey academy hired the
They
tournament
did.
coordinator like they had last year?
They did.
Mhm.
His
They
name is
did.
escaping me right now, but they did hire someone else who's supposed to have been meeting with the lodges and working through this type of thing. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name, but yes, they do have a manager.
Okay. We
Yeah.
should probably either contact that person
Yes.
or John Pontus and say, hey, what the heck's going on? We're getting complaints,
Yeah.
first weekend or something.
Well,
You want me to get his availability to meet or? what do you-
I don't know if we need to meet.
No,
We
yeah.
need
Just
to
an
at
email.
least make them aware of the situation.
Or just certainly contact the coordinator to let, if they haven't heard, a note that there was a
Yeah.
complaint at the select board, and I think John should hear these things.
and had John given you, Steve, or anyone, the contact for the manager? for
Not
the
that I've
arena?
noticed, but I'll ask.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, I just need to button up. I think you're right, Dan, in the sense we should button up on the process, the procedure, make sure it's all going according to plan.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I see two other individuals here. We're in privilege of the floor. Is there anything not on the agenda you'd like to discuss? Bring to the attention of the
No,
board?
today's a rainy day, I got nothing to do.
What better place to spend it
Yeah,
than to
you
come
guys are
here?
meeting like 6 days a week here, so I figure I must be missing something here. But I will reiterate I'll ask the question again, what are you doing about hockey? You're the landlord, you're our representative as our landlord.
Mhm.
I think it's a disgrace how you handle this thing.
Okay,
It's just obviously problematic. And you're obviously aware of the problems. I just don't get it, I really don't. You
All right.
don't want to do anything, right? Is that-
no, that's not quite correct, but we've gone back and forth several times, and obviously
Well, I
what
mean,
measures we have
obviously you
taken
got a
haven't.
complaint the first weekend in,
Right.
so obviously
Well,
whatever
second
you've
weekend,
done
but-
doesn't work. So I know there's a contact for hockey. He's not there at 9 o'clock at night. And that's when problems are.
Okay.
You know,
Okay,
and it's also, you're inviting problems. I mean, to have 21 teams come in here on a Saturday weekend, and we can only handle 8 at best. I don't get it. I really don't. I really don't get it. As the taxpayer and part owner of the rink, I just don't understand why my ownership of that rink is affecting me and everybody else. And we're not doing anything about it. And on top of that, it's a $2 million asset that we really get no income from.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, like I said, we've talked about it before,
You
but
can talk all you
for-
want,
for
but
the-
unless you're there, I think you should see what's going
Yeah,
on here
I
at 9
think I-
o'clock at night.
I think I do, but
I don't think so.
Okay.
I've never seen you on my property.
I don't see.
Yeah, we
need
do-
to
we do
walk
almost
across your
10,000
property at
people.
night. Alrighty, thank you, Craig, and could you tell Jen for the record who the individual was, Craig Larson? We're trying to keep a better record of who speaks at our meetings. All right, thank you. Tim, you said you didn't have anything for, alrighty. So let's move on to the water and wastewater regulation review, and this is something I think Dylan and Mark have worked on for quite some time. So really what we have in front of us are a couple of things. Let me first turn to the draft ordinance, right? We do not have an ordinance.
Correct. We
That's
have-
correct. So this is to put an ordinance in place.
That's correct. We have, technically right now, we have a table of rules and regulations that is a combination of water and wastewater.
Right,
In order to comply with modern state regs, we have to have an actual sewer use ordinance. So this was given to us kind of gently by the state and said, get this back to us.
here's the template,
Right.
basically. Okay,
So as you mentioned, Mark and I have been working on this. We have, I don't know how many versions of this we are up to at this point. As you can see, we're discussing prior to the meeting beginning, there's a lot of markups throughout.
right. But most of it is
Yeah, pretty basic.
ministerial, I guess you'd call it,
Yeah.
making sure the language is correct and so forth.
right. And again, truly, this is as much of an insurance policy for the town as it is anything else.
Okay.
Because our current one is super dated, and it's very, very basic, rudimentary, at best. And what this does is more or less it outlines, almost everything A to Z of what, what.
It sure does. There are how many
Yeah.
pages?
Yeah, 64.
64,
Pretty long.
going through it.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so you're recommending basically that the town adopt an ordinance for, I don't, just for sewer use, or do you want to call it wastewater treatment
Yeah,
facility, or is it?
so really, this is really just applying to the actual usage of the collection system. So it's really
Right,
just.
yeah,
sewer
that's what
use
I was
policy.
getting at.
Yeah,
So sewer would be the best.
yeah.
All right, I mean, I think that's a great idea. I don't know if Wendy or Dan, you had any comments on it? I saw a couple questions you had, but
Yes,
do you folks, is there anything you want to say? As I said, most of it seemed to be just fixing it so it fits for Waterville Valley.
right.
Yeah,
So there wasn't a lot, there was one itty bitty thing I saw in the beginning, under 1.1 C. I wasn't sure why. Oh, here's it.
Page 6.
1.1C.
Yes,
To
page
protect
6.
both POTW
And
personnel.
I'm wondering why it's both and not all.
Well, actually, and to protect the sludge is an interesting way of putting it, but I guess that's the language in the business.
Yes. Wendy, could you repeat that? for me?
Yeah, number,
sorry.
letter C, I'm wondering why, to protect
Both.
both POTW personnel who may be, so why is that not all POTW? Am I just
Yeah.
reading it incorrectly?
I think that both applies to the,
Oh, because this is in the general public.
right,
So publicly owned treatment works personnel and the general public.
I don't see the chip.
So that should read C, 1.1C, to protect both publicly owned treatment works personnel who may be affected by wastewater and sludge in the course of their employment in the general public. And then it's semicolon.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
no problem.
I mean, you could move in the general public after POTW,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To protect both
I
people
don't
in
know
the
why they
general
broke it
public.
up. Again,
Personnel, I
That
should say, personnel and the who may be affected by wastewater and sludge in the course of their employment.
You have section 17 highlighted, publication of pollution prevention achievements.
What page is that, Dan?
Very end,
No, in the beginning on page 5,
fine.
it's in the list of,
Yes, so that would be page 53.
yes,
Is because on page 53, there's a table that I have not yet
Right.
completed.
Right.
Because they talk about it. We don't, obviously, as you're aware, we don't have any manufacturing in the community, and what I don't want to do is put something into effect that's going to bite us later.
Actually, is that on page 28, that chart?
Let's see.
I made a note that there was a chart on 28.
And this one, electronic device, yes, okay, so
And
as you can see, it talks about all the heavy metals.
Mhm.
Arsenic, cadmium, chromium, copper, cyanide, lead, mercury. And really what this is there's nothing of really any quantifiable amount that I can even put in here. But because we don't have any manufacturing, or refining, I don't want to put something in here that makes us solid on that.
Mm.
Like it would protect the town in the sense that it would protect us from if anything gets discharged in a slug load, but nothing's in town that's gonna cause that. I wanted to take this right out of it. This was one of the questions that I had was,
Mhm.
the only thing that I'm afraid of, and I wanted to review this with the board before submitting it back to the state for their review, because they're gonna be more or less the ones that have to approve it. I just don't see a benefit to keeping it in here for a number of reasons. Again, because we wouldn't knowingly take it anyway. If somebody said this, that we want to discharge anything that is containing this, we wouldn't take it anyway. So see how it says allowable in this chart, it says pollutant, it says allowable publicly owned treatment works, headworks loading pounds per day. I wouldn't allow anyone to discharge anything of that nature anyway, if they asked.
So it's zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
maybe.
it just seems foolish to put this in here and have it say zero. What I'm getting at is I think we should just put in here anything that's, yeah, Dan.
Okay. Think about it from the terms of 30 years from now.
Mhm.
And maybe there's a different person running the system, or maybe our town has changed. So we're putting this ordinance in place, or the desire is to do that. And it has restrictions with respect to certain commercial activities and such, with metals and that. It could be that the town changes in the future.
Mhm.
And one of the concerns I have is handcuffing ourselves, because we've taken this language out when it's been recommended to us put in.
Sure.
So better just put in zeros, what you're saying?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or
Thing is, we
leave the
could,
language in there. I don't see that it's harmful because we're not manufacturing right now,
sure,
but. From this seat up here, one of the things I've seen over the years is. Agreements and such are put in place without. Forethought towards the potential of the future.
Mhm.
And which we, of course, can't predict. So does it hurt to leave these sections in?
sure.
Will it, by leaving those sections in, will it potentially make the process of approval through the DES easier? And that's all I'm asking you, is to consider that and think about that
Yeah.
as we move forward.
I mean, they're short and certainly, yeah, the only thing I would say to that is that, anything that would be outside of this our existing business. What do you want to call it? The way
A commercial
yeah,
structure.
Yeah, we would have to modify our sewer use ordinance anyways to allow that to happen, because there's a lot of things in here that
Mhm.
more or less put the constraints on any of that from occurring anyhow.
Okay,
But I'm not opposed to leaving it in. I just, when you put 0 pounds per day, that is like even somebody, putting
Mhm.
an old thermometer,
Oh, sure.
something like
For
that,
mercury.
that's
Right.
literally
Right.
0 pounds per day, because anything in excess of 0
Mm,
is a violation.
Right.
So that's the only thing is, when you go down that avenue, and that's fine. I'll make a note of it. Like I said, I'm certainly not opposed to it.
And the comment here too suggests the commenter ZL3 to add at a minimum aluminum, nitrogen, and total phosphorus to the table too.
Yeah, and I mean, the problem with that is that phosphorus, we have a lot of hotels in the community. The last thing I want to do is tell them, hey, now we're gonna limit what type of detergent you're gonna use to wash your, linens and things of that nature.
Mm.
So what I don't want to do is put us keep painting us into a corner and then make it even harder and harder, put an undue burden onto a business for something that at the end of the day doesn't, if it's 2.2 versus 2.5.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Right.
That's all I'm getting at. So again, with this stuff, it's just one of those things that once we get it on the books, I don't want to have to keep bringing it to you and have you review it and make modifications to it. I
right.
just want to kind of put something in, and then, if a few
Mhm.
years from now, something major comes down the pipe. Yeah, no pun intended. We can break it out and make modifications as needed, but
That gets to one of the questions I had. By being so specific in an ordinance, to make changes, substantive changes to an ordinance, will have to go in front of town meeting. Why not a regulation with more of a bare bones ordinance that handles the big changes you'd have to make? Because we can change regulations
sure.
as long as they comport with the ordinance.
So again, more or less the way that I understood it was we were
They're
Not
gently,
ask, but told.
they're gently
yeah,
telling us
we don't have
so
one.
far.
Yeah, we don't have one. So even though we don't have any industry in town, this all came about a year and a half ago because we had an industrial pre-treatment inspection. We don't have any industry. We don't have any pre-treatment program in town because there's nothing that
They treat,
yeah, right. So, other than grease traps, but that's not even really pre-treatment, that's just preliminary. Regardless, in that meeting and in those findings, that's when they told us, you don't have one, you need to have one.
Mm.
And I mean, they didn't threaten like fines or anything or AO or anything of that nature, but with this, it's just one of those things that it more or less gets us up to a modern standard of the collection system, because like, hey, one of the things that most people don't think about is it's in the ground. It's probably one of the most, if not, it may be the most valuable asset the town has, in terms of total cost. It is insanely expensive to run a sewer system.
to build one too.
Well, that's what I mean. Sorry, to build one. And by run, I meant literally,
Right. Yeah.
laying pipe in the ground.
Right.
But so that's more or less why I think the one is just so that way the town has it in the state. Who knows if there's something on there and they have an obligation that says, each town must have a sewer use ordinance for them to have funding from EPA. I'm not sure. But
So what I'm asking is a lot of this can it be in a regulation so that when you do have to make modifications, either the director of the system or the select board just goes ahead and makes those modifications without having to change an ordinance.
I think that was the intent. I
Yeah,
think it's just, we could change the name of this as well. Okay, I know it's called the sewer use ordinance intentionally, but we could just call it our sewer use regulations.
standards and regulations
Yeah,
or something.
and there could be a smaller, I'm not trying to overcomplicate it, but have a smaller subject section that is labeled the ordinance and limit it to just the uses, if that makes sense. And then have all the rest of it be regulation.
Right, that we can modify as needed.
Yeah.
And then we just have to go to town meeting once to get the ordinance
Yeah.
Right,
approved,
yeah, well,
just like we do with
technically-
other ordinance. We have the ordinance and then we have regulations
Exactly.
Technically with this,
and
um,
operationalizing it.
Mark reached out to town council and they
Yeah.
said that this did not have to go to town meeting. That was what surprised
Oh,
us,
okay, well, maybe we
because-
need to check on that. I always thought all select board ordinances.
So I'll have to recall, I'll dig back and I'll get it.
All right, if not,
Exactly.
then it's not an issue,
Yeah.
right? And it may be that as in other parts of this, water and wastewater systems are treated differently.
Right.
Um,
It had,
so-
and it has something to do with it being a utility
Okay, well then,
ordinance rather than
okay,
a select
well,
board.
that'd be the
ordinance.
first place to check.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
therefore, what I spent the last 5 minutes talking about is no use. Sorry about
No,
that.
you're good.
Can you just make a general statement that industrial waste such as, and all these.
Yeah.
Items are not accepted,
Certainly, we certainly can.
and that way the chart could be removed, but there's a clear understanding of expectations.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I should have. Kind of refreshed my memory on all this in advance of this because it's.
You didn't have
so
time
long,
to read the
yeah.
extra 65 pages?
There is something in here. It's basically right above this, if I remember correctly, reject or prevent any discharge to publicly owned treatment works after notice has been served to the discharger and the discharger has had reasonable opportunity to respond. So, I mean, that goes into. Let's see. Yeah, that whole subsection, I guess, before that, so 2.5, the last paragraph
Mhm.
beneath, if any waters or wastes are discharged. Or are proposed to be discharged to the publicly owned treatment works that exceed the standards or restrictions established in sections 2.3, 2.4, and 2.5. Of this ordinance, which in the judgment of the director may have Rich. how do you say that?
Deleterious.
Deleterious effect upon the publicly owned treatment works processes, equipment, or receiving waters. And so it goes on and on, but
Sure, that kind of sums it up.
yeah, and I think this is only in here because, like Steve pointed out, they kind of do want a maximum or minimum rather, no, maximum pounds per day allowable. And again, what's tough about that is our flows are variable, right? So the pounds per day, what you
Yeah,
can
how do you-
actually put in are
yeah.
gonna be variable along with it.
Right,
So, the same
how do you measure
concentration.
it? Yeah,
Yeah, it's all flow by concentration. That's how you get your loadings.
Hmm.
On one day, you could technically be okay with this amount, the next day you'd be in violation. Then, anyway, it's just one of those things that because we have such a I don't want to call it sporadic, but inconsistent
Mhm.
flow pattern, these pound per day type things are in the influent, specifically in our effluent, it's not hard because we can dial in
whatever.
a
we want.
discharge amount and basically stay there. With our influent, we can't control that. So,
They're not put in terms of averages,
correct,
like average flow.
Mhm.
right? Yeah, it's just a max daily.
Will
So
the new plant have any sort of assist on that, technical assist?
Not in
Yeah.
terms of being able to like create,
Right.
because really all it is midweek
Right.
versus weekend.
Right,
Right. So
right.
you're gonna see a big delta in midweek flow, anywhere from 30 to 40%
Mhm.
midweek.
Right,
to-
and there's no average really,
Right.
it's just pounds per day.
Okay, yeah, so I can, again, this is, even though this is kind of in refined form from where it started, this is all stuff that I can spend more time on. I just it had been so long.
Yeah,
I
no,
wanna
let's
get
get
this in
this,
front
we
of you.
should do
Yeah.
this, the state has asked us nicely so far
Right,
to do it.
I thought the language was for the most part fine.
okay,
Yeah,
I didn't see any issues with that. The template they gave you.
Yeah.
Seems pretty much reasonable. The manufacturing issue is, of course,
kind of,
could be important if it were to ever occur.
sure,
Things like chromium are really nasty.
yeah,
Very,
toxic.
well, they cause cancer in a big way.
Mhm.
Chromium
They-
6 for sure.
Kills biomass as well.
Right,
yeah, that
right.
would be people.
The only reason I would say anything about that is because there could be problems with the new treatment plant were these metals or something to come through there.
Right, no, certainly, and
So
that was my
it's-
point, Dan, is that's where, putting 0 would be what I would, in my mind,
Right.
would make sense. But what I just don't want to have something in there that has an unanticipated consequence down the road, like, as an example, like the first thing that comes to mind is kind of a topic we discussed, not to go back, but the ice arena. Right? They have unless something's changed, they have an ammonia-based refrigerant system.
Right.
So, something along the lines of that, if they had a catastrophic failure, not that we want to take it at the facility, but it's better than it hitting Corcoran's Pond and hitting, receiving water. And it's not that there's anything necessarily that's captured in this, but, they do add aluminum total and nitrogen. So I guess it would be encapsulated in their NH3. So that would technically violate, even though we're protecting the environment, violate us from taking it because the pounds per day would be astronomical because it's concentrate.
Is there a provision in here that would cover that,
Yeah, so
provide the exception in emergency situations?
I'd have to look.
well, it's all under the
Right.
pollution in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
To the greatest environmental, I'm gonna,
Use that
Job.
language
but it's
to
all
lean
kind
on,
of summed up
yeah,
in the very, very
That makes
beginning,
sense.
right?
I
And
believe so.
that would
although-
make sense.
I mean,
3.4.
pollution is technically defined as more
Yeah, Steve.
biologically generated. As
Page
opposed to-
33.
Oh, I was thinking in the, well, the beginning is.
The general statement about
Yeah, like one.
protecting the environment,
Yeah,
right?
1.1F. I think it was at page 6. Yeah, yes, what you're saying, Rich.
Yeah, more consistent. It's more consistent with the where we're going. And it has that table beneath. Yeah. Rent or reduction of pollutants at the source.
There's
And
if you look down at page 58, I believe it is. They have the section affirmative defenses to discharge violations, 12.1 upset. A says for the purposes of this section, upset means an exceptional incident in which there is an unintentional and temporary noncompliance with pretreatment standards due to factors beyond the reasonable control of the user. So
Interesting.
it looks
We may have it covered.
Yeah.
like that may be covered in here.
I mean, I would imagine state would have thought this through in their suggested language.
Yeah,
Is it, to get back to the table, is there a industry standard of negligible, like instead of 0? So that gives the leeway for that one thermometer that
Sure.
shows up.
It's variable from
Mercury.
facility to facility. And that's,
Okay.
that's the reason, think of like Manchester or think of Concord versus
Yeah.
us. If they could have the same pounds per day, but their flow is so much more, so high
Right,
that, their pounds per day to us is entirely different.
Yeah.
So to put that in perspective, like, think of a city of, I don't know, what's Manchester, 150,000, probably something like that. Their flow is probably 20 million gallons a day, something along the lines of that. So, I mean, you gotta have a reasonable amount in there, but plus manufacturing, as Dan pointed out. Because they have pretreatment programs in place there to allow it down to a certain
Right.
concentration. Yeah, what I'm getting at without getting in, going the long route is. I'm certainly fine with keeping it minimal. I just learned the hard way throughout the years of
Mhm.
when you put something at 0, you
Specify.
typically you get yourself and you have an unanticipated consequence that you didn't. really-
right, that's what I was getting with,
Right.
negligible, or
Sure.
some other word that we'd have to define if there's, in our regulation or ordinance. All right, something to think about.
Yeah. I'll make a note.
You had one, I think, key question. It's section 9, administrative enforcement remedies, this is on page 50. And the question was, who has the administrative power in a town? Is it the director or the select board, town manager? So what you're thinking there, and what's the standard generally?
So the reason why Mark and I technically both put this in here is because the director is the enforcement of this ordinance.
Right.
If you, you know, if you, technically, it's the select board, the way, you know, town structure is laid out.
Mhm.
Regardless of that, though, the director is the person who's going to enforce this. Do any inspections or, you know, arrange any inspections, so on and so forth. And I just want to make sure that it's really not the onus, but the ownership is placed on the right body. That's
Right,
all.
right.
Because I don't want to get into a technicality down the road and say, well, you know, you can't enforce this. This is the select board, and then have it get.
Right. What's the standard in the state?
I
You know?
believe I believe technically it would be, in most cases, there would be a commissioner, you know, board.
Right, right,
A
so that,
commission, if you
right.
will. Since we're not in that
We're
realm.
not structured that way.
Right, that's where I kind of just wanted to hear out what the board thought. I'm not opposed to having the board be the administrative power on it, considering.
We could treat it like DPS though. I mean, we don't pass judgment on enforcement actions
Sure.
they take, and certainly with regard to code enforcement, such as in building permits. We have delegated our enforcement power to the director of DPS, so we could potentially delegate, if we wanted to say the power belongs to the select board, delegate it to the director of the sewer system. That'd be one way to,
Yeah, it'd probably be
Keep
more
it-
appropriate because
Right,
you know
and-
way more than we
right,
do.
and then.
And then it becomes just like kicking it back and forth. I gotta come to you, you give me.
Well, the way we work it with, Chief Noyes, our current code enforcement officers, if he thinks it's something that he feels we should be briefed on.
Sure.
With his recommended enforcement action, or if he doesn't have a recommendation
Mhm.
because of whatever ancillary issues are involved with it, then he brings it to the select board, but I would say 9+ times out of 10, he just conducts the enforcement, and he has that power because we gave him that power. So we leave it to the judgment.
No,
So-
that makes sense to me. I just,
Delegating power down is always the best,
Yeah,
almost always the best way to do it, especially to the professionals
sure,
who know what they're talking about.
exactly.
yeah, no, again, it makes total sense. It was really just a technical
Right,
snafu, if that makes sense.
so you good with that, Dan, too?
Yeah,
Yeah, have it approach it that way. All right.
I don't think there was really anything else.
No, like I said, most of it was just getting the language correct for Waterville Valley
Right.
and I mean, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
And if you want to work on the couple areas we talked about, think about how to handle those, and then
Yeah, or with things like the administrative fines,
ahead.
page,
That was that
55.
blank as well, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are a bunch of spots. Are there recommended fines or?
So
yeah,
it's up to you. Where it gets a little bit dicey is just trying to find what, you know, maybe equitable is not the right word, but finding
there's not a state standard.
there is not. No, in because it has percentage as well.
Yeah.
That's where I didn't think it was my place to necessarily put a percentage of unpaid, you know, what
so you're looking at
section. B or
9.13 B.
Yeah,
Page
correct.
55, yeah.
You know, the amount of, in C, for example, the amount of days, within amount of days being notified of the fine, that's kind of not, you know, it is what it is. We can put whatever day you want, and amount of days in there you want. But that component in B, I think, is a bigger deal.
Well, I mean, it's usually after 30 calendar days, right? When any.
Right.
Whatever assessments, fines start to kick in or accrue. But as far as the percentages, there must be and maybe not. An industry standard, but just like an overall standard, right, of penalties for
Well,
unpaid.
Usually it's like interest that accrues.
Right,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I
What-
just don't,
Percentage do we use elsewhere? For
For the interest,
instance, like on water bills and such.
is it 8%? What are we charging for interest?
Eight on water and sewer?
What is it?
Tax
8%?
bills,
I think it's
whatever,
8%.
whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, 8%.
We should keep the standard across the town to be the same in my mind. I
That's
can't see that, you know, making a penalty of an additional 50%, that seems like nonsense to me.
Just depends on what defines,
It's too high.
defines low. Then people that are discharging what they shouldn't be, they're gonna be
Right.
like, they'll pay the fine
And what they're discharging, if it's more expensive for them to discharge it the
elsewhere.
appropriate way, we don't want to
Yeah.
fine them less than that cost would be.
Yeah, that's where it becomes difficult.
Yeah.
We could do some research on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
that'd
certainly,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the continue to violate aspect of it, right?
Yeah,
Very good. And if there's if we can tie down ordinance versus regular, or that if this is
Yeah.
not an ordinance that needs to go in front of.
I'll get with Steve on that.
See what town council thinks.
And just review that with him.
Yeah.
That's what I was briefed on at least, was that because this is a,
Utility, it's the separate standards for all utilities.
Exactly.
Yeah. And usually it's state standard and it doesn't matter what the town votes. The state standard will
yeah, supersede, right?
supersede.
Yeah.
Rich, we will give you the duty of reading this at the town meeting.
Yeah, we could. I'll
hey.
I'll save myself and everybody else the trouble.
Oh my
of not do it.
54.
sorry, I'd also
Yeah, something
noticed
else?
on page 62, you had
62?
a blank next to an ordinance number.
Oh, yeah,
Were you
yeah.
looking for that ordinance number or,
We don't have one,
okay.
so that was. what
That
I
is
wanted to
this,
point-
that would be
Yeah.
this one.
That was my confusion. I thought
Right.
that we were creating,
Right,
Yeah.
what you
yeah,
were creating.
and because it's not. Well, the way I view it at least, because it's not really a select board ordinance. I didn't want to give it a number.
Yeah.
Established by this ordinance,
Yeah.
Yes.
that would simply,
Yes.
yeah,
That makes more
Yeah.
sense.
by this ordinance, will we see the set page?
Yeah.
All right. But thank you for all that great work. Whenever you think you're ready with the final product,
Bring it back.
bring it back. We'll have hopefully a short discussion, and if we can approve it, we'll just do so.
That sounds good. And then.
And we had the water. right?
Yeah,
You had
and-
the other issue.
And this really, so before I get, I let you guys pick at it. This is purely just a suggestion with the hopes of having, some
Right.
some ideas bounced off of it. I more or less, I just took this from a company that manages a lot of water systems in the southern part of the state, Pennachuck Water. And this is what they have in effect,
Mhm.
and we can do whatever with it. What I liked about this one is that regardless of the restriction, it allows people to use handheld hoses for best.
Right.
And
Right.
garden water, for flower garden watering as well. Which I think was one of our big concerns.
Yes.
We can't really prevent people from utilizing it for agricultural purposes in the sense that it's.
Right, and we
for
consider
consumption.
gardens as
Yeah.
agriculture, not
Yeah,
tractors and irrigation.
Exactly.
Right.
Not here anyway.
exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, any thoughts you have, I'm more than happy to listen.
Yeah, my only thought was that for the days of the week where they're specified,
Mhm.
since we have such a large second home owner population, one of those days probably should be a weekend.
Sure, that's a
Right.
good point.
One of the days in
Mhm.
level 2 and then the day in level 3.
Maybe like Monday, Saturday, Tuesday, Sunday.
Something like that, yeah.
The only thing we do with that I hadn't thought of it until this moment. Saturdays and Sundays are typically our higher usage days
Hmm,
to begin with, so that's the only, if we're in a. Well, I guess in level 2 really wouldn't be that much different because we'd still be allowing,
For a
Water
3-hour
watering.
period.
yeah. But once you get down into. Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday and level 3 would be, to your point, that we wouldn't be able to utilize any of it, even if it was a long weekend or something like that, so. That's a tougher one, though. How would you like to enforce it? Because what about people that are, you know,
You're thinking people who go away for, who live here but go away for the weekend?
yeah. If you just make it one day, I mean, I suppose,
Or do you
Can you
just
give them
assume,
a choice? You can do 2 days a week, but you could, does you have to specify odd number of houses, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday or Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday or Sunday?
yeah, it's just enforcing that and.
Yeah,
no,
That
I hear
they,
Yeah,
other than,
didn't.
you know, having the meter reading, you know, and the enforcement side just becomes more.
it would be a visual report. It could
Yeah,
only be the
right.
way you could enforce it, right? You
Right.
can't see it from the,
or I guess do you assume second homeowners who aren't here would have irrigation systems?
right? Or property management services
Yes.
that deal with it.
I'll look at that and see if I can
Yeah.
find something that applies with more. Transient communities
Okay.
and see how they
Yeah,
have anything structured.
See how the
Yeah.
resort,
It may,
yeah.
they may have, you know, thought this through a little bit better, because again, this is being applied in a, you know, mostly.
yeah, you see if a
Full-time
resort,
community.
how a resort
Right.
community, whether it's a beach resort or
Sure.
any type,
Yeah.
may do it. I think, when I was reading this, I think I sent everybody, actually the state recommended, which is actually what we have now,
Yes,
slightly modified.
they updated
Slightly
theirs.
modified.
Yeah.
The state updated their model.
Right.
And that is what is, it has been improved to, which is kind of corrected a lot of the flaws, I think, with our existing one.
Okay,
Except in there, it still is a little bit confusing as to some of the questions that people in town have
Right.
asked about
right.
what I can and can't do, but
So you would see as maybe melding what the state standard is, the state model is now, so we hew as much as possible to that, and then
Sure.
adding the peculiarities of Waterville Valley and some of the things that you mentioned here that
Right.
we'd want to look at, like lawn, like handheld
yeah,
watering.
I just think, I mean, honestly, for the amount of people that live here, or own property here, that is gonna amount to a hill of beans in the grand scheme of things. It's not like we're talking about,
Right.
you know, a whole lot of water, so if we're in that bad of a situation, I think we got other things to worry about.
Sure.
But
All right. No, I'm fine with your suggested changes. We can find a way to meld it and answer the question of that weekend or resort, how do resorts
Right.
do it? That would be helpful. There's the other big question that we've been wrestling with now for over a year, and that is, how do we regulate, if we want to, the use of commercially installed residential irrigation systems? And that was the one area we, as a board, tended to get a lot of complaints about. You know, lawns being watered in the middle of a rainstorm and that sort of, or while we were having this drought.
Right.
Lawns being watering. The issue there was what power did we have to do that?
right,
And I think the last we left it was that Mark was gonna check with town council, because everything seemed to be predicated on an emergency defined as a water shortage.
in that, in here, it does talk about though, Rich.
Yeah,
uh,
anticipation, is that, you read it the same way? Okay,
Yes.
yeah, that's what I
And
was
that-
wondering if that's our out.
When we
So to speak.
originally discussed this, well, not originally, but maybe 6 months ago, I had mentioned how more or less a water district can
Right.
more or less enforce whatever they want for restrictions on the water, because the water district owns it.
Hmm.
And it's
Right.
not, I mean, it's not like, if it's not for necessity, you know, for consumption or for health or cleanliness, they can basically enforce any regulation they would like. I'm certainly not.
Right, I
implying
remember
that we
you
should,
saying that now,
you know,
yes.
put all this regulation on by any stretch. But the only real way that I think that we have the ability to regulate it, to regulate those types of fixtures, Rich, is to just have people do away with them. Not utilize them. I mean, because if you allow watering of lawns, period, without any water use restriction, they can use them.
Right, no, that's been
You
a
know,
dilemma.
Yeah, and if
Right.
people don't like the use of them, the only thing I can see is, and I don't know how, if there's any clauses or grandfathering, so to speak.
Well, it would be in the context of a water restriction regime, right? Not to ban them outright,
Mhm.
but we do allow lawn watering in even the revised version that you proposed
Sure, yeah, with handheld hoses.
with handheld hoses, and maybe that's what we tell those folks. Now, that includes like hooking up, at the end of your hand, doesn't have to be your hand actually
No,
watering,
right,
does it?
you can put a sprinkler on the
Yeah.
end of it or whatever, yeah. I'm just,
Well, but doesn't that kind of cut it fine? I mean, how is anyone to know who's watching for these things, whether that is a
Right.
sprinkler on a timer that's gonna go off every day or someone
Right.
actually.
so if it's coming off, the way I've always looked at it, Wendy, and maybe I'm oversimplifying, but if it comes off of an outdoor spigot, I always more or less look at that as the equivalent of a handheld garden hose.
Hmm.
Whereas
Maybe that's what we look at it.
yeah,
then.
whereas when you're typically dealing with a
Commercial
full
install.
blown,
Yeah.
like an engineered
Irrigation.
irrigation system, they typically have bigger lines, more water flow, on
Are they
timers.
sometimes more efficient though?
Yeah, that's the
So,
problem, and
but
that's what I
that-
had argued for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because it's on a set amount of time, because they know
Right.
Right.
based on this amount of time, exactly how much water
Right.
is gonna be across X amount of square feet.
whereas someone could just forget to turn the sprinkler off and
It-
next thing you know,
it
it's
does
been on
happen.
for 24 hours.
Exactly.
And
Right.
that went to your point, Dylan, I believe that you researched a lot of communities in the south that have a water restriction in place
mhm.
all year round.
Right. And I'm not necessarily,
Hmm.
again, don't take that as I'm recommending it, but
Well-
in Massachusetts, where I'm from, basically from June 1st
Mhm.
until end of September, there's a water ban in effect, no matter if they're in a drought or not. And it's
Right.
really just to protect the resource.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, again, we're not, our wells are much larger and recovered very well than I think our
Right.
needs are. I'm just saying that if water conservation is the goal, then those are the types of things that you look at.
Right.
And not to derail us, but I did find, I thought this was interesting, and I didn't want to make this meeting any longer than it had to be. Concord, Mass, they have a water conservation plan that they made. I'll share it with the three of you. And it's all about different types of plants, whether perennials, annuals, so on.
Yeah, so
So
really,
forth, and how you can utilize how you can plant them around your, house, whatever, and keep them healthy with minimal water.
Right.
Right.
So, it talks about sun exposure,
Right.
everything.
Well, and going more towards native plants as opposed to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and it's just, I found it interesting because, maybe that's the path that people are really concerned about conserving water.
right.
Don't plant plants that require so much water,
Yeah.
even like a lawn.
I mean, we're
Yeah.
sort of after the fact here. I mean, you could establish this as part of a site plan review process.
Mhm.
And to attack it at the front end,
Sure.
Yeah.
and to avoid the situation that we're in now.
Mhm.
That's for the future, and that's something, I can talk to the planning board about. With regard to the efficiency, I think that what counters that a little bit is that, the timer is on every day, no matter what, for X amount of hours, as opposed to someone who waters it because the lawn needs
Right.
watering,
But we could require,
especially for
Yeah.
absentee property owners.
but there are rain sensors or water sensors.
That's right, we could,
I mean,
we had
could
talked about,
require
maybe we
more.
go at it that
Yeah.
way.
I just think it starts to get really complicated.
Well,
Yeah,
that was
too.
the problem, and then how do you enforce it? Well, enforcement would be visual. I
Right.
mean, all you
But,
could
but
do-
even writing the language of,
Right.
you would have to have so many caveats of, if this component is like, how would you start to worry about it? If there's X amount of dry days in a row, and then enforcement steps in, or would it be,
Well, I think, I'm not sure we'd want to go to the length that, like in southern New Hampshire, where you have just a ban,
Sure.
for 3 months in the
Right.
summer, but rather it tied to our water restriction,
Yeah.
regulation.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the better way to do it. So it somehow gets away from some of the complications
Certainly.
that
Yeah.
you're bringing up, that if we have a water restriction level 1, what does it mean for commercially installed residential irrigation systems? Do we treat them differently?
And even the language is the tougher part, because like commercially installed residential, what if the homeowner installed it themselves?
Right.
And,
Right.
you know,
Well, we'd have to deal with that as
Yeah.
well. And then there is also the use, I mean, is the conservation and how much water a particular household is using and they're getting charged for, right? We've talked about that. Should there be just a simple surcharge
right.
for people who have installed irrigation systems?
One of the things that I didn't realize, it actually came to me earlier today. Remember, Mark was trying to get into the detail of houses that had these types of systems
Mhm.
installed. There isn't anything on the books that requires a building permit for one to be installed. Maybe that's something that we do, so that way it can be.
Well, that's what I was getting at,
Yeah.
is that you attack it from the site plan review side of
Yeah.
things.
Right.
And it's just become more noticeable since, the one development that was, Green Peaks, I mean, they're all in a row.
Sure.
And they all pop in, not say all, but most of them pop on at X amount of time. And then it doesn't matter what the weather is, and people see that, it's right on the road, so that's why we get the complaints, and
Yep.
we're trying to find a way to get at that. Without being Big Brother.
Right. And that's exactly what I want to try to prevent, is I don't
Right.
want to overregulate it and then have people, I don't want to go too far one way and then have to go too far back the other way either.
Right.
It's just trying to strike that happy medium.
Well, that's why we thought maybe we can attach it or incorporate it into our water restriction levels.
Sure.
But
So we also have to deal with the penalties aspect of things,
Yes.
and they have fines in here up to $10,000. But for a third violation, that seems a little bit extreme to me.
Yeah. And
Um,
this is the state form you're talking about, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
what constitutes a violation? Because we have people who are away and their water system may be coming on 2 or 3 times a week or whatever. It comes on 3 times a week, are they at the third violation almost immediately?
well, that's why we haven't set any standards. We have to- I think,
So that's just one area of this that we'll need to be sensitive to. Because we do have a population that comes and goes and so forth.
One power that we have that we really haven't utilized, and I think a lot of it just due to the size of the staffing we have, is turning people's water off. If they don't comply with what the town is enforcing, that is the most powerful thing we can
And they
do.
mentioned that in
fine.
here,
Yeah.
discontinuance of water service.
Yeah, and you know what I'm getting at, Dan, is even I would make fines somewhere irrelevant. And make, their service interruption be the penalty.
Mhm.
yeah, no, I think that's a better.
Only
it'll
because,
Get their attention.
yeah, I mean, if $500 fines, most people, I mean, maybe not most people, but a lot of people. Don't keep watering their lawn, they'll just say, pay $500.
Well, it wouldn't be unnecessarily though, Dan, on the first instance or the second, but if you're
Right.
talking about a continual violation, you could you can scale it up. The penalties.
Right.
That's like we have with anything
That's what
else.
they talk here,
Yeah, you
like
have
a
a warning.
warning,
Right.
fine, and
And
then
then
third
Violation
violation.
is, so the fine could be at a lower amount.
Yeah.
And then, on the third or whatever violation, you
But
turn off the
to your
water.
point, $10,000 is asinine.
Yeah, no, we're
I mean,
not,
that's-
we're not. We're not.
Are there
anywhere near
any
that.
circumstances where discontinuance of water to a house, for instance,
Mhm.
would cause some form of irreparable harm
Yeah,
that we are not taking into account?
certainly if they have a boiler. Hot water, you crack the boiler, something along the nature of that.
Yep,
But again, that's where we don't have anything. A lot of communities that have a water use policy, they'll allow people to have second meters. We don't want to go down that road, in
Mhm.
my opinion. But typically you don't shut the water off without notifying them that you're
Right, give
going
them
to.
30 days or whatever.
Yeah, and you, again, to Rich's point, you would give them a warning, you continue to do this, they're going to shut the water off. I don't know, Dan.
So does that get handled through the policy or separate policy? Or does that get handled through the ordinance?
Well, the
where-
sewer use-
Where we state explicitly that you will be notified. You have 30 days to come in compliance or whatever
Right.
before we shut your water off.
I would think it would.
I have
to
a
be-
boiler.
Yeah,
If you blow my boiler up, I'm gonna be rather upset, if you will. Now, I don't have. I'm not going to be violating water things, but the point is. Because of the way our population operates with people coming and going.
sure.
If we shut the water off on Monday and somebody doesn't show up until Sunday, we don't want to initiate a situation where houses are burning down or some other problem
Right.
that we haven't thought through.
Sure.
Well,
But in theory, we aren't like just jumping to turn off someone's water.
No.
This will have been an escalation of
Right,
at least
and-
3 or 4 interactions before,
And
and with each of those
exa-
interactions, that warning would be
I
issued, that, so there be that
Right,
communication
and-
ahead of time.
would imagine too that being the town that we are, we would not only send them a letter or an email, but try to contact them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
And say, look, you need to
Yeah.
do something.
And I think that's like the most severe
yes,
Penalty.
level.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
getting to the, but to be, I mean, from the legality standpoint, Dan, my understanding is that the water
Right.
district or whatever it is, you know,
Right.
whoever owns it, they're not responsible for, which is. we don't
I
wanna go down
appreciate
road, I'm
that.
just saying, and I'm.
But-
Well,
I want to make sure we're thinking about all the potential consequences
sure.
right,
of
but
our
I-
actions.
but I think you have to also consider how we act as a community and a town and, you know. I don't think we encourage anyone to be heavy-handed with anything like this.
Mhm.
No, quite the opposite. And
Yes.
I would just add that people have agency.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so, we scheduled an hour for this. We've gone over a little bit,
Okay.
but thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dylan. I think we still, need to work on this, on the, what I call commercially installed residential irrigation system, come up with a way of dealing with it, given our structure, our system.
Thank you.
All right, no, thank you for all the work, and we'll be talking to you again about this and other things. Great. So, I'm going to, change the order of the agenda. I see Katie is here, and we asked her to come, she has to come at 3:00 to talk about the transit agreement. Thank you for coming. Katie, I think we've all three seen it, and I think what we're trying to do this year, especially now since, Mark's not here, Mark would always be the intermediary. We talk about it, and then he talked to you, and then you talk to him, and then he would talk to us, just simply to see if any of the board had any questions about the proposed agreement for next year up front. I think we have until December 15th. That's the review period. It runs from when you submit it on or about October 15th to December 15th to make a decision whether we're going to agree to the agreement again this year. So this is an opportunity for any board member to ask you any questions about what you presented for an agreement. I have a couple, but if Dan or Wendy, is there anything you wanted to start off with while I look for mine?
I do not have any questions at the moment.
Okay. Did you have any particular?
Not at the moment,
Okay, so,
it is way at the end.
yeah, such that long, all that sewer stuff got in the way.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Let me find it. Yeah, there it is. Thank you. So, the first question, these are just, background, information. It was interesting to me that we basically were 5% under budget from, what we projected in 2025 and what we actually, spent. At the same time, you're projecting 3% higher from the actual spend for 26. Can you just give us a little of the reasoning?
Sure.
On that?
Would you mind using the microphone? Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, sorry about that.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Katie Smith, Waterville Valley Resort. So increases came from wage increases.
Yeah,
We purchased a new bus in 2025, so depreciation will increase based on that.
those are my two
Um,
questions.
And
One
then
question.
insurance
Okay,
goes up because we
Yeah.
got the new bus, so.
okey-doke. The other question I had, you actually handled three of the questions I had. The last one I had is, could you explain to the board how you calculate the fuel uses percentage?
So fuel is, we have a program called Petrovend, which
Mhm.
is a fuel monitoring. And so every employee has a code, and every time they go fill up a piece of equipment, that equipment has a code. And so then the fuel is coded to the equipment, and then we in the accounting department take that report and say this equipment goes to this department, and then that's how we get the.
Did you get the 90-10?
Mhm, yep,
roughly?
and then we load in our fuel costs.
Right. Good, go ahead. Does anyone else have any questions? Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
I think I know the answer to this, Katie, but this incorporates the shuttle or the bus
Trolley.
trolley that runs in the summer too.
Yes, yep,
Right.
year round.
And I think that's important for our programs, Brooke. Let's make sure we get it all on the record for people listening.
But it wasn't outlined in the schedule that was provided, the resort shuttle schedule,
Do you guys use a different schedule?
like with the trolley,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, we work with them with the trolley in the summer, and they're very helpful, so, but it wasn't outlined anywhere in.
In the current agreement, is there a way we can incorporate it in?
Aspects that we use before, I didn't know if we wanted to outline that in differently or.
we can. I didn't know that it was different than just what they do,
Yeah.
so I can put it in there.
Oh, so the trolley runs a different schedule than. what was-
Nope, so that's our bus schedule. So that's the one that's listed to the public that we advertise. We say this is our schedule, if it's a winter or if it's midweek or if it's weekend.
Okay,
So if the trolley does something above and beyond for the town, I don't know that, so I don't have that in the agreement. We can put that in the agreement, but then I would just say that we would want to
You'd
make
have
it kind of vague because you don't want to stick to maybe a schedule right now.
More a trolley stop, so it's still like going from
Right.
the first stop to like the other stops, but.
But do they make special?
I don't know, it just doesn't say trolley, but I guess it's concluded in shuttle. I guess it can be included in the shuttle terminology.
And we could look at it. I mean, it seems useful just to have it explicitly stated if there's not
So
too
you-
much trouble.
I guess my confusion is, do you have a special schedule that you work with the team on? Where they come at outside of the normal pickup times?
Yeah, so they'll.
Okay.
Yeah, so they will come and take our group from like, the rec to like, say, the tennis center.
Which is which is not one of the billable things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't have any of that reflected in there, and I can put language in there, but again, I would leave it vague, because you don't want, I don't think, to commit to some schedule.
Particular schedule, no, that's how we.
Various lots.
Yeah, I think it's just noting that this is
Sure.
part of the agreement. So when
can do
people
that.
ask, what does the town get from it? Well, one of the things is, we use it, the rec department uses it for its summer program, so we can have that reflected
I
somehow.
would also point out,
Mm.
though, that the town in general has all of the stops at every condo association and all of that part.
Right.
So that's the other side of it.
No, that's what's all mentioned. I just meant what is not mentioned
Oh,
on
okay.
additional
Got it.
thing. So, well, since we're bringing it up, maybe we should, as we review it further, maybe we can come up with something. I agree with you. Kate,
Language,
some
yeah.
language, and that's not very specific, but just notes this usage of the shuttle service, if you can consider the trolley a shuttle. And then we can, when
We do, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
shuttle to us is anything that we operate, whether it's a big blue bus, it's the trolley, it's the
right, they're encompassed on. the
open
shuttle.
air trolley or the short bus. So-
Okay, yeah, we can see if there's any language we want to. If not for this year, maybe for next year, it doesn't matter, because this is basically just a cut and paste from last year's agreement, right? Did we
Yeah.
Change it, I think we changed it a
We
couple years
changed it
ago.
last year a little
Last
bit. We
year.
added a clause in there for variances to budget.
That's right,
And then I think a couple years ago, we added a different clause, but I don't
Yeah.
remember what the
All right.
language of it was.
okay, so we can work on it, see if we feel like we want to add it this time, yeah, Dan?
So just one comment, is it the Waterville Resort Association or Business Association?
Business Association, it's still in the process of changing. It hasn't been filed with the
Right.
Secretary of State yet, but yes, Business Association is.
Okay, so then would the contract then be
Um,
modified accordingly to put the
I
appropriate
mean,
language
the
in there?
WVRA is still like the business or it's a
It's the legal.
DBA, the WVBA. So the Waterville Valley Resort Association still exists as a corporate entity or a nonprofit entity rather. But we have a DBA as the business association, so either is appropriate.
Yeah. We do have successors in the signs in the paragraph, which,
Okay,
but we can change that.
I just want to
Potentially next year,
make sure
but that's
that
another good pickup, yeah, it's good to keep current with these things.
that's best we can.
Otherwise, we end up with agreements or easements that are 30, 40 years old, and you're trying to follow the bouncing ball as to who's who. Since it's
Right.
properties passed through different hands over those decades.
I-
Alrighty,
I
yeah, go
want
ahead.
to point out too, Kate, this year has been, at least from my standpoint, from a billing perspective, flawless.
Good.
So your team in the accounting department, compared to other years, it was a little, oh my God, did I get this bill yet? And I always had to question myself, but this year they're coming in timely, and I'm hoping you're seeing the payments being pushed out
Mhm.
your way timely. I know there was some years that we were kind of falling behind a quarter here, a quarter there, but
Yeah.
I think we're in really good shape. there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so did you have any questions for us?
I don't.
Okay, so the annual cost allocation to the town is 73,437 to be paid monthly, 6120. Just again, for the record, and then we'll talk about it, and I guess we have until December 15th, hopefully much sooner. We'll have several meetings before that to make a decision.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you very much. All right, shall we move back up to minutes review and approval? So it's one set of minutes. Yeah, Wendy, right.
This is my quarter to start in, and I'm not quite sure that I totally finished those, so can we table them for now?
We can. We can table that. Yeah, I had, frankly, maybe about a dozen potential
Yeah,
changes, probably because you haven't finished it. So let's go ahead and table it and let Wendy finish. And I think we're going to talk further about this
Yes.
later on in the meeting. See if we can do this, get this right.
we will.
All right, so we'll just go ahead and defer. That's the only one we have. All righty, let's move on to new business, planning board appointments. So Rick Smith has resigned since he's moved out as a member, full member, of the planning board, since he's moving out of town. I just talked to him the other day. Seems like everything's going well. Rob Wilson, currently an alternate member of the planning board, has asked to be appointed to Rick's spot, which is up for reappointment in 2026. So if we accept Rob as Rick's replacement, it would run until this coming town meeting.
Okay.
And then we would have to either reappoint Rob or someone else may want the position, but he's the only alternate of the four that requested replacing Rick. So I'll make a motion to designate Rob Wilson as a full member of the planning board to complete the term of Rick Smith, who is resigning, said term ending in March of 2026.
I'll second that,
All in favor?
right?
Aye.
So that opened up a alternate position.
Can I just make one comment on
Yes,
Rob?
you can.
In my experience serving and helping the board from an administrative standpoint, I do want to commend Rob for his participation and his efforts. I think that he has provided, quite a bit of value in terms of content. He's also been a participant on the CIP, the subcommittee of the planning board, and has been very active
Right,
in
you
that.
guys had a meeting, right?
We did recently. so-
Recently, starting, that was the
Yeah.
first meeting of the season, so to
It
speak,
sure
of the
was.
budget season. Always a fun.
Yeah.
Fun meeting.
We have a site tour scheduled on Friday too, where they're gonna take a look at some infrastructure and some equipment that
Great.
that the town
Yeah.
owns. So I think that's a big win for the board.
Yeah, it was no issue. It's an easy decision with Rob,
Good.
and he's doing all of that beside his personal circumstances.
Absolutely.
So that's great.
Yep.
So that leaves that opening, one opening in the alternate position. We have, I believe, I've not seen it, but if we can get it, oh, is it in front of me now?
Yeah, I placed it underneath your agenda at the start of the
I must have
meeting.
got moved with all my other papers. So we had one resident, oh, thank you very much, who asked the select board to appoint him as an alternate member of the planning board. It's John Panicella. And it's as simple as that. That's what he's asked to be considered for the open position for alternate, now that we have one.
Would his term go until 2028?
Yes, because he is replacing Rob, and thank you for reminding me, he is replacing Rob in his alternate position, whose term as an alternate expires in 2028. So John will be replacing Rob until 2028.
John did come into town hall
Mhm.
about a week prior to his request in writing, expressing, some interest in helping out on a board or a committee. He said his primary focus would be to help the town kind of look at expenditures, CIP. He was really interested into like the
Mhm.
capital improvement. So I suggested the first step for him would be to show some interest at the planning board level, and then potentially
Right.
down the road get involved in that subcommittee. So,
Yeah, there are plenty of subcommittees or working groups he can
oh yeah,
volunteer for beyond just being an alternate member.
for sure.
Alrighty, so go ahead.
Yeah,
No,
I'll make a
Sure.
motion that we appoint John Panicello as the alternate on the planning board to fulfill the slot until March of 2028.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Congratulations, Rob and John. I hope. All right, let's move on to old business. Most of the old business is just updates, which could be nothing to report. That's an okay update. So the first one is town manager search committee update. Is there anything, Steve, as the factotum and all around person who's supporting this search committee and the select board? Anything you'd like to let us know at this time?
Sure. So the search committee last week received 26 resumes. 26 resumes that I asked them to, in a matrix, provide kind of like a grading or a scoring, their thoughts on who applied. And so that round one wave of resumes has been sent out. I've received feedback from everyone on the committee. I have that saved, and my plan is today, effectively at the close of business, is the last day for this round one.
Vacancy notice runs till today,
Till
right?
today. So I have approximately 22, but they're coming in pretty fast and furious.
At the end
today,
here.
At the end.
Okay,
So possibly up to another 26 resumes and
wow.
letters of interest that I'll be sending to the search committee tomorrow, and ask them to do that same kind of
Rating.
rating and connect with that search committee, hopefully at some point next week, where we can sit down and look at all of the top contenders, if you will.
So of the 26 resumes that they've reviewed,
Mhm.
how many have they requested for interview?
There's not been any formal interview request yet at this point, but I would say out of the 26, there are 3, possibly 4 applications that they thought highly of. So it was basically a yes, no, maybe interest level of moving forward.
Within the matrix and then
With
you
their
add it up, right?
application process, and 3 or 4 out of those 26 received a yes in the majority.
I think they were waiting for the period to close and get them all and then decide
Start making some phone calls and
and to see, right, so you're working with
Initial
them
screenings.
on initial screening and interviews
Mhm.
of potentially 3 or 4. And the other aspect of this, of course, is the need to know if we want to reissue the vacancy notice
correct
as well.
Or find another way
forward.
retain a headhunter or
Oh, yes,
anything
no,
else to
exactly, sure.
amplify the search.
Right.
If we need to do that.
Right, so it'd be helpful if the committee, it's once they get together and discuss this, if they can give us just a short summary of where they think they are, that perhaps out of the 3 or 4 candidates, there is, strong candidate or two.
Yeah,
And there's maybe no need to,
I would.
there's no, in the
hope not, yeah,
future,
yeah.
we're not looking at that, or we may need to do that. So just some kind of update on that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It'd be my hope if we have 5 to 6 favorable
Mhm.
resumes, I could schedule hopefully out of those 5 or 6, 2 to 3 interviews. Just given my hiring experience, that's kind of what you get. You get someone on the phone and do that initial phone screen, and you talk a little more about the role and the the location of the role, and you might see some people second guess or just not aligned.
Right, and you just incorporate that with the search committee,
Right.
and then let them
Schedule
whoever they want to schedule.
and move forward with the round 1 interviews.
Right. Okay. Any other comments, questions, or observations on this? All right, the new wastewater treatment facility update. So there are several things, communication review, engineering review, legal review, and funding update. So, Dylan or Steve, any of those, you'd like to attack in any particular order at this time?
Sure, I'll just keep going down the list
Mhm.
if that works for you. Strategic communications firm. I've submitted a bunch of information to them as they requested, as we discussed in one of our previous meetings.
Mhm.
Probably more than they know what to do with, so as we discussed, gave that to them with hopes that they're parse through it.
Right, and incorporate what they need to into the website that they're designing and building
Exactly.
for us.
And
Okay,
then submit that back to us for our review, and making sure that's what, exactly what we want. They did have a photographer up, take some photos of the area. They're, put it plainly, we're gonna have to have some more photos taken,
Yeah.
because it wasn't exactly what we had in mind.
Okay.
So,
so,
I think it was something lost in translation there, not necessarily anything that wasn't, between Lewis Carnell and the town. I think we had the same thing in mind. I think the photographer just dropped the ball, unfortunately. So that is going to happen shortly.
okay,
To make sure that we have that,
Right.
in place. Engineering update.
before we move on to engineering, I think just stay on the strategic communications. I think we're scheduled to meet. Is it the 29th? I think it is to review some of the verbiage they've put together for the website.
And in theory, will they be updating it again, given what you'd submitted to them? I've lost track of.
For us to review for our meeting on the
Right, will
29th.
they-
I think
Right.
it was the goal to have maybe a little more graphics to the
Sure.
website, and then if you all take that Word document that they had as a template for the website's content,
Right,
take a look at that, make your own individual comments on what's there. Dylan will do the same, and then when we meet collectively.
that was the whole idea. So we just send them one product
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, when we meet collectively, I can tie all of your comments into one.
Okay,
One
So
working document.
Even though Dylan has sent them some updated potential verbiage to be used, they're not incorporating that yet, so it's all gonna get put in, because it seems like a lot of what was there was from the old website. And maybe not as updated as it could have been.
Did
It's
you
been
provide
around.
those?
I think,
Yeah, I sent them 8 or 9 engineering reports.
That they.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
They-
Dylan's
yeah.
providing them documentation that we would have posted on that website. In
So
part, I
nothing
don't
would
think
change.
you went through all the
Well, yes.
verbiage they had provided, correct?
Okay.
No,
Still
that's
want to
correct,
make
and that
sure.
was, the reason for that, Dan, is because I had the intention that they were going to take that information out of the engineering reports, incorporate that in, and then I would review it as a
Right,
finished, not a
that's what
finished
I'm
product, but a
saying,
semi.
yeah,
Right.
no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
well, you have the Word document too that we're reviewing, so if you see any, if they make any changes, or if there's anything you think you submitted that could change, you can give us a heads up on that.
sure.
Maybe we can wait, ask them to provide that change, so we don't spend
It
time
just seems
wasting it.
inefficient, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I can reach out to Jai And
All right,
Okay.
see what maybe
Great.
works. I mean, they may be able to do that within the next 2 or 3 days to incorporate what you have, and then we can look at that new,
That would be good.
that would be the ideal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because we got, what, a week, basically, it's a week from today,
That'll
Yeah.
work.
yeah.
And you all received a link to the site with the password credentials too?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
All right, next on the list, sorry about that.
Engineering update, in terms of the wastewater treatment facility itself. Not much of an update there. They're going right along. They're asking for more of the, finite detail stuff like energy costs. that-
Minor detail,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, in the grand scheme of things, because I mean, what we have now versus what the
Right,
new facility
right.
has, it's kind of not
right.
really
Yeah,
quantifiable.
It's a delta, right?
Yeah. But really the only update, as, again, I'm glad Tim is here. The only update there is that we were able to find some of the old information from S Engineering, and Black and Beach was able to look at that and say, no, this isn't nearly sufficient for test pit data up at the ski resort in their parking lots. So they are right now working to get a contractor in here before winter. I know, days are dwindling. I actually just received a call from Mario about 10 minutes ago. I'm not sure if that was what that was about, but
Hmm.
on that note, Tim will be hearing from me shortly to make sure that I'm not interfering with anything that he has going on, and that we can kind of get this phase of the project underway.
Right,
And find out if it's even a viable solution. So,
okay,
We may have a problem,
Uh-oh,
forest shut down.
oh,
I'm sorry, Tim, could you,
Oh, we may have
Okay.
a problem, the
Yeah.
forest is shut down,
oh, maybe because of the government shutdown?
so we can deal with them. I think we know how to get an answer.
yeah,
We just need to
So-
make sure that we reach out to them and tell them we're gonna be digging.
sure. I was gonna say, I think the last time, we did that, it was, they looked at it as under maintenance.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure we have that in writing,
Gotcha. Yeah, trust me, I get where you're
but I
coming
think we can, I think I know where we can reach out, we just need to talk.
from. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the report is for them, but they're shut down, so that it complicates finishing the report
Right.
to them. That we need them to pass a judgment on, yeah, nice. All right, yeah,
Legal update, nothing. Not that I can think of, Steve, unless there's anything.
nothing, NTR, okay,
Yeah.
all right, that's fine,
We, yeah, I'm just trying to go back in my mind and think, nothing has changed on that side with EPA or the requested AOC.
Right.
Black and Beach is doing a deep dive to make sure that there isn't anything that they can do on the compliance schedule, and remember they want.
they asked 6 to 9 months shaved off of
Yeah.
it,
And they're trying to, Mario wanted to make sure he sent that across the company to see if there's anything that he's overlooking from his standpoint. And I mean, my guess is that it's hopeful at best, wishful at best. I don't think it's likely that.
so we still owe them an answer,
Yes.
EPA an answer on
Black Beach
that.
just wanted to make sure
Right.
that they did their due diligence before we
Right.
submitted an answer. So.
And then at that point, presumably, they'll decide on the AOC.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
What's our time frame for getting that information?
About midweek this week, so today or tomorrow, Black and Beach. Late last week, there was correspondence between our legal counsel and Black and Beach regarding that. And Black and Beach just asked for a few more days to complete their findings. So like I said, midweek this week, I would any day now. And
Okay,
anticipate we would be able to respond to EPA through our legal counsel, so.
Do we have a deadline, a hard deadline to get back to the EPA on this?
We do not,
Okay,
but the sooner
Thank
the
you.
better, obviously.
nor did they have a hard deadline to come back to us with a
Right,
decision on an AOC.
correct.
But that's a key for us. That's a key thing we need.
Yeah.
So, and I think they understand that. That's what I got out of the meeting.
absolutely.
Okay,
And then funding update, I mean, Steve, unless you have anything, I don't have anything additional. We did have a brief meeting with PFM
mhm,
the other day. Just to kind of go over all of the recent, things that we learned from the state
I mean, like the WIFIA and what the
Yeah.
state can do and
Exactly.
all that.
They're obviously very familiar with that program.
I hope so.
Yeah, and I mean, that's good for us because to my knowledge, the town has never utilized that program. You know, we've utilized USDA, state revolving funds and other avenues, but nothing.
Not from EPA's program.
Correct, so.
Do we have I'm sorry.
Oh,
go ahead,
yeah,
Wendy.
I think we're probably asking the same
Have at it.
question. Do we have an idea of when we'll get the report from PFM?
2 to 4 weeks.
That's from today, right?
Uh,
More or less?
More or less. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's also important for, standing up our websites, try to get some of that.
Yeah.
Funding information out there for people to cogitate over.
Dylan and I briefed them on, it's our hope that we'll have a public hearing scheduled in early December
Yeah.
Right,
to talk more about the funding of the project.
Well, it's our plan and they need to get
Yeah,
the information.
And we requested to have this wrapped up, a couple of weeks in advance of that, so we have some time to noodle it and
right,
share it with you folks, so.
fair enough, okay. All right, anything else? Dan, Wendy? All right, thank you, Dylan. But don't go away, next topic is the drought, water restrictions, fire ban update. So I think, what can you tell us? And I thought I saw.
Yep.
Chief Noise here.
I did, okay.
Oh, you've got, all right, well, that's okay.
So the most recent release is still from 10/16.
Right,
The drought status, which I
Right.
think is gonna change here. My guess is they're gonna probably downgrade it from an extreme drought to a moderate drought.
back down to moderate,
Yeah, we received 3.65 inches of rain the last from Monday.
Right.
To today, and I mean, I'll look tomorrow and see what comes out, and I think we'll just keep everything as is unless you think otherwise.
if they drop down the moderate, I think we can decide now that if they drop down the moderate, we can, if we want to, change our level.
Like down to a level 2.
Or down to a 2, and if they don't change, we'll leave it at the 4.
What's the difference between 2 and 1?
1 is completely voluntary.
Voluntary.
Completely voluntary. 2 is the first one where you have hours and restrictions. I mean, we could, I'd have to look it up again,
Yeah, I don't have that in front of me.
Because we're at level 4 now,
right, which is
so,
basically a ban period
right,
of outdoor.
because level 2
Okay.
allows for 2 days of watering, right?
Yeah, and it restricts the hours as well. 3 is just more restrictions on
Okay.
the usage.
That would be acceptable to me, I think.
All right. So shall we, see if I make the motion, I'll try to be specific, because I know we're getting beaten up for not being specific enough in our motion, so. I move to, change our water restriction level from its current level 4 to level 2. In the event that the state, upgrades, I guess is the proper word, our status, or changes our status from current extreme to moderate status. And the obverse of that is if they do not, we stay at level 4.
I'll second that,
All in favor?
right?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that good enough, Kristen? for the motion? Alrighty, and on the fire ban side, hello, chief, haven't seen you in a while. We're okay.
So the governor did modify it October 15th. It didn't change too much. Municipal activity or a public event can get a category 1, but you have to have one of us there as a detail the entire time, and you have to fill out this 11-page document in order to get it prior to getting it. So there's a lot of hoops you have to get through in order to even still get a category 1. But it has to be an event or a municipal activity, a public event or municipal activity.
Such as like burning brush that's been brought in,
No, none of that can be
none
done.
of that.
That's still.
Okay.
A public event or it's
Okay.
an event type thing by a municipality, so.
Okay,
And it has to be approved by fire warden, and then it has to also be approved by Forest and Lands and the fire chief. So.
Sounds like we
no
just,
changes.
I would
Yeah.
say yes, we keep our
Yeah.
So
current,
no change.
current change. current status.
Yes.
You guys okay with that?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Road project update. Hello, Mr. Dower. Good to see you again.
Good to be seen again.
Yes.
Wendy,
Great to
Rich,
see
and
you.
Dan.
I'm Dan
I don't know if we've ever met, Bill Dower.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So just for, again, for the record, we've asked, Bill to assist us earlier than he usually does in our road, projects. Mark carried a lot of the work, as we were preparing for the projects and talking to the engineers and whatnot, and then he would rope in Bill when he felt it was time to do so. Well, we're thinking we would like to have Bill just pick up that baton and start running with it right now. So I understand you're amenable to doing that.
Looking forward to it, actually, yes.
Great.
I love working up here. It's a beautiful place to work and good people to work with, so.
Nice. And what can you tell us by way
Yeah,
of
so,
updates?
been working with Steve and Megan on kind of getting up to speed.
Yeah.
Haven't been overly involved since the Jenny Peak project finished, which I drove up there and everything seems to be flowing to where it's supposed to be flowing, so, that one worked out great. But, also working with HEB, getting caught up on all the work, the preliminary design work that they're doing or, analysis on Lost Pass, Cascade Ridge and Bean Bender. And as an update on that you may not know, HEB suggested that we forego a component of the current contract, which involved borings, because we're only doing a road reconstruction and don't need to go to the length that we did on Snows Brook, for instance, with borings. Should save the town a fair amount of money, because those were going to be pretty extensive analysis. So Dylan agreed because the lines up there have been replaced, not recently, but new enough that we know where they are and won't need to deal with any of that. So, but they're moving forward with that analysis as well. And then also working with HEB on the Valley Road culvert situation. The analysis that they're doing on that and need to get caught up with Megan on her coordination with FEMA on that, to make sure all the parties are in tune with with how we're moving forward there. So those are the two major things that I'm getting, but like I said, I'm gonna sit down with Steve and find out what else is going on that I need to get involved with and get up to speed on that and get
Excellent.
going.
Well, the two big things, of course, is the engineering for Boulder Path.
Yes,
And-
ATB is
and
moving forward with the
Snows
design
Mountain,
on that. Yes.
Right. I think we need, again, much of that was in Mark's hands, so I won't speak for the rest of the board, but I've kind of lost the bubble in exactly where we are on that. So if you could talk to HEB, and well, I guess we're handling them as two separate projects, but they're interconnected. One hopefully being done next year, the other one, Snows Mountain, being done the following year. So if you can get together with HEB and just update us where we are. We can do it either at our next meeting in 2 weeks, or if you think we can schedule a special meeting, if you want to just talk about roads. That may be a better way to go, because that could be an extensive discussion. There's a lot of issues that still, I think, are there with the two projects. So if you can, we should probably, you don't have to schedule it now, but we should probably take a look at your schedule, talk to them and see when it'd be good, you think, for you to brief us on those two projects. That would
Sounds
be very
good.
helpful.
I need to get a hold of HEB and or maybe even run over and sit down with them, because
Right.
I've left a lot of messages and don't get a lot of return calls.
That was an issue that
So
Mark,
I need to figure out how to
mentioned to me.
better coordinate with them, whether it's
Yeah.
gonna be electronically or I'm a phone guy,
right.
but it feels like that they're not phone people, so maybe.
There was an issue with that, where I know Mark was considered
Yeah.
that
So,
a
so
problem.
I'll work through that, but it's good to be back
Great.
on board.
No, glad to have you. And I think there's some questions that the HEB had with regard to Boulder Path, right?
Well, we had discussed placement of the water mains.
The-
things of
right,
that nature.
right,
And truly, it's gonna be the findings of Snows Mountain Road. I
that
think
drive that,
Yeah, that
Right.
dictate what happens on Boulder Path
Right.
or sewer. Because, I mean, there isn't but 3 houses on Boulder Path in that section that could even connect. And it would be foolish, at least in my opinion, to have sewer extended from the intersection of Snowsbar, Weather Valley or Snowsbrook Road down to the tennis center or tennis courts. I just think the cost would be astronomical for those 3 houses that could even connect.
right, yeah,
If Snows Mountain Road isn't going to be connected.
as a
Oh,
sewer,
okay.
Yes,
for sewer, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, there's some questions that come up. I know the engineers have asked some questions. So anyway, if you could write Herd and all that, and then schedule a meeting, and we'll just sit down and talk about those 2 projects. We have to start thinking about the budgeting for those, as well as the budgeting for Lost Pass Cascade and Bean Beather. So I think we've hereby designated you as our road project czar, the RP. TS, yeah, C, it should be TS, but that's okay.
All right,
So thank
Very
you, and we look forward to your next meeting with us.
likewise.
Right now we do. I'm not sure what we'll think after we meet with you. but
Let me find some stuff out first.
That'd be great. Did you have-
Well, Bill, while we had him up here, would you mind if I just gave a quick, just a review of item 6E, the Breton Rec Land update?
Sure,
So Rich and I had spoken to Mark Henderson, a few weeks back now, and tried to, figure out where he stood with getting documentation into the state to start the process of mitigating that land. And we were told at the time by Mark that he thought a land survey would be a good first step.
right,
And I therefore reached out to a couple of engineering firms, received some quotes.
right. You
One-
mentioned this the last meeting. We got one for 8, was it?
One for 8,000, another one came in after our meeting for 6,800. And while I had Bill in my office, I I thought I'd just run by those quotes to him because I'm not very familiar with what it costs to survey land. And Bill was a little shocked at those amounts, so I thought, through some more conversation, why don't Bill and I get on the phone with Mark and kind of pick his brain on why
Sure.
he felt those land surveys were so important at this time.
Right.
Is there a checklist that the state has that we need to abide by, or what was his thought process on that? Bill even brought up the idea of, well, maybe we can just get the area where the old dump,
The majority of it is, right?
right, surveyed rather than the
Hot-
whole
Hot
parcel.
spot or what?
So I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
Bill and I had a pretty productive phone call with Mark the other day, and no, Bill, if you'd feel comfortable just giving them just kind of an overview of how that went in a path forward.
Sure, one of the benefits of being a forest engineer for the US Forest Service is you touch on about 1,000 things. So I've got some experience with landfill recovery and wastewater systems, et cetera. So I got a little bit of knowledge on all of this stuff, a lot of knowledge on roads and trails and bridges and things. But anyway, back to the landfill. I looked at the deed. The deed is very clear on the property boundary, the rear property boundaries on the east property of the donated land. The river is the west boundary. The road is the north boundary, and another property is the south boundary. All of those boundaries are should be, I'm assuming, are very clean
Easily.
Right.
with
Ascertained,
corners
right.
and monuments, et cetera. So that's why I asked Mark, how necessary is a property boundary, because I think we know where the property is. So he indicated later in an email that eventually we will probably have to get a survey, but for now we can probably forgo that at this point.
Okay, well, that's a change, because that was his critical number 1 first step, do it
Right.
now,
Right.
so.
Yeah, so I just wanted to get the board's thought on that. I think, Bill's pretty comfortable working with Mark, and I'd like him to kind of take the reins on this project as well. And if him and Mark are okay right now with putting the land survey kind of to the back burner until we know more definitively from DES, what the steps are.
So has Mark
Revisit.
heard from DES what our first step should be? I mean, has he communicated with them? Or,
It sounds like he has had some preliminary discussions with DES and I know he, in passing, kind of on the call, he mentioned that one of the critical things is that we can determine / prove that this is a pre-1981 landfill,
Mhm.
which I think dictates.
Right, the remediation,
Newer ones
Right.
have to be dealt with differently than older ones.
right,
And so I think we're there, but
Okay.
we need to make sure that we're comfortable with that, those dates. The critical thing is gonna be identifying the footprint, and I know there are people around that remember different things about where it was and
Yeah.
I mentioned, after Steve and I talked in his office, drove over. Cause I had walked around it quite a bit as part of the waterline project when I was
Mhm.
project managing that one. And, was just noticing where all of the current, monitoring wells are. Which I made an assumption were put in because of the landfill,
right.
but Mark mentioned
No,
that they
okay.
were put in because of well number one, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But they're still there and I assume can be used for
Yes.
groundwater monitoring. And they appear, where they are appears to be around what I believe is the footprint of
right,
the
that main
landfill.
area, yeah. We did do
So-
that survey, there's that one big main area, and there were a couple other hot spots, but.
Yeah,
yeah.
and we do have, I don't know who did Mark request the LiDAR or he got the LiDAR
Image.
image that
Oh, really?
helps
Yeah.
in different ways. LiDAR is
Mhm.
an amazing new technology that can really show a lot of things, but I didn't do any tree borings, but I kind of looked at the trees on the rest of the property. And if you know much about trees, a tree about this size is typically about this age. And so the fact that there are trees of that age there, tells me that was not part of the landfill,
Right.
the southern 2/3 of the property. So I think we're gonna be able to pretty much narrow down where the landfill was. So that we
Right,
then
that
can.
big cleared area, basically, in the
Exactly,
northeast corner.
that seems to be where it was predominantly. But Mark also mentioned we probably need to do some interviewing of folks and, talk to someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows something about the landfill or worked at it or.
There may be a few of those
dump
folks
stuff
around
there.
still, but
Yeah.
we gotta get on that.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I think that's part of the plan as well.
Great.
So.
Oh, excellent. Yes, no, glad to have you aboard on that. So I guess we'll just hold off on the land survey at this point. And just move forward and it still looks like we're not looking until 27 before we even get an idea of what the cost will be well, we'll know in 26, but won't be able to do anything until potentially 27. I'm kind of guessing.
I'd say that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, and then once that's done, we can decide what, if any, changes we want to make to the use of the land, so.
I need to look more in depth at that. Post and pre-1981 requirement.
Yeah,
Um,
that's critical,
just
yeah,
sensing from Mark on the call the other day. A cap is probably minimally what's gonna need to be done.
right,
To add whatever the
Fire
required depth
depth
of
of-
cover.
right.
On a landfill of this nature
right,
is. And then probably continued or some level of
right.
monitoring, groundwater especially.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll be able to, I think, through some kind of, I don't know, iterative analysis, figure out. You won't know directly when it was, I don't think we ever able to pin down when exactly it stopped, but you can tell that from town records that the waste was then disposed someplace else, like the incinerator.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there are those records, but it's gonna be a bit of assumption here and a bit of assumption there, I think. To get to that, hopefully it's still pre-81, because if it's not, that's a whole more complex.
Have we
thing.
been testing the groundwater?
For well one, I think we've,
Yeah,
Stop.
one hasn't been in use for.
yeah,
over
for
a
quite some
decade.
time, so we've not actually have an active program for quite some time to test that,
Okay.
right?
Correct.
That's unfortunate, because if we at least had history of the test results that would show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well, do we have it? from
we have a
10 years
history
ago?
up to
I
that
mean, we
point.
have it up until 10 years ago, which
Right.
is, so we
We
have a
do.
baseline.
Yeah.
Agree, Garrett.
Okay.
It's now, I believe, GZA.
Right,
They,
That's good.
they had been the, these, more or less our geotech for.
contractor for the
Yeah,
wells,
I don't know how
yeah,
long, but a long, long.
A long time,
20
yeah.
years at least. And we do have reports from all of our well sites, including, when they were trying to find what is now well 4. So you
right,
know, not to get into the weeds, but they had to drill tons and tons of test wells before they actually found well 4. So we have a lot of data, specifically though, Dan, to your point about the well 1 site. It's old, I think it's roughly 2005, maybe.
right.
But it's still a good baseline.
Yeah,
It'll be
Yeah.
stuff there, and I think we may have passed all of this to Mark Henderson
I believe so.
when he was doing his level 1 of phase 1. I'm trying to get my terminology, phase 1, I think it was.
Yeah.
Phase 1 analysis, and then we did the 1A analysis.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this was all passed to him as
Yeah,
for his
and we did
report.
link- To your point, Rich, we did link GZA up with Mark Henderson.
Right,
So
so-
that way they could, you know.
Right.
Combine efforts.
Right,
Is there or was there any evidence at the time of contamination leaching into the groundwater?
Not that I've ever. seen
From that
any of those
landfill
reports.
site?
Yeah.
No, not that I've ever seen.
yeah, I think we were
That's
told no,
helpful.
yeah. And we're actually counting on that somewhat as part of the remediation effort. Won't be just the fill, but it may be a requirement to, you know, monitor the area, and that may be more difficult in the long run, depending on what the monitoring might include.
Sure.
Yeah, so,
the LiDAR, as piece of good news from the LiDAR is it looks like the town is gaining land as the river moves.
oh, it's moving over to the forest,
Yeah. The
Forest Service
is
side.
losing land and the town is
so
gaining.
how many
land.
centimeters?
Quarter acre a year.
Yeah, a couple of feet a year, but.
We'll take it.
Or a couple of feet per storm, maybe is a better
Yeah,
way to put it.
but
The
who
issue
knows?
with that, Bill, is that it's eating into well 3s.
Well, yeah,
Well,
that's a
that's
positive and a negative. 'Cause
That's
the-
right.
The peninsula that is well 3 is getting smaller.
yeah. Yeah, we've already had, I think Dylan's warned us about potential issues there. We said we could buy a little rowboat for him. All righty, Great.
Steve?
Good, thank you.
all right, thank you,
Thank you.
Bill. Again, glad to have you back. Glad to see you again. And speaking of the Britton property, I want to thank DPW, Megan. I see you have the signs out. I haven't been down the other end. I haven't looked that closely. It's been too dark, but are they on both sides of it? Right. That's good. Now, we had also, this is the no parking. I think seems pretty clear for people to understand. It isn't like one of those crazy signs you see in cities, which are 4 different signs where you can figure out whether you can park in that particular spot. We had also talked about signs dealing with usage, like no, or permitted, what are permitted activities on the property. Have we gone anywhere in that direction?
No, not
Yeah.
currently.
Okay, because we had talked, I think we wanted to try to get that fixed as early as possible, so
Right.
that people get socialized. Yeah, well, we had talked about, no tree cutting, no fires.
No dumping.
Well, yeah, no dumping. I think no landscaping. And I think I had suggested we've got 2 big signs there on either side that maybe underneath those signs you could attach, or next to them you can attach, And it doesn't have to be an extensive sign. It could obviously be the typical circle with a fire and a line, something that people could obviously
No.
understand.
They currently use for the occasional.
I don't think so.
Are you talking about the old fire pit that?
Oh, fire pit by the river?
Yeah,
Yeah, and,
It's encouraged to use it.
no, they're not. I just know, I think I know that it happens.
oh, no, we agree. And I think the
And
pit
once
actually
we
was
put a
pulled
sign
up. Well, no, it is a enforcement issue.
Yeah.
It always has been though, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, we only go if we get called there.
Right, well, I mean, that's like so much of our enforcement, that's just the way it is. But I think that pit was actually removed, somebody removed it. Last I looked, I don't know, was it you guys, was it DPW that
I could say
removed
it
it?
wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you guys could jump on that and try to get something in the ground before it freezes, the ground freezes, that would be helpful.
Okay,
If you want to run it by us, either at the next meeting, or if you got something before that, give it to Steve and he can run it by us.
Yeah.
okay.
'Cause I think we're in general agreement that we should have some type of signage at either end about permitted activities,
Okay.
or not permitted activities. Great,
Not permitted.
not permitted. Yeah, I mean, it's the digging is a big concern in this issue, at this time when we're working with DES about what remediation efforts we want to take. We don't want to dump trash. Want people dumping trash, nor do we, but we don't want digging in that area as much as possible, or trees being taken down or what have you, for whatever reason.
Right.
Yeah, that would be potentially working at counter purposes. Alrighty. If there's nothing else on that, let's go ahead and move to the department head updates. Steve, did you want to say anything further about the work plan, the town manager, select board work plans? I think we wanted to get together, right, as a separate meeting to talk about these things.
I'd really like to.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're so close to the end of this year that maybe we want to turn it into
Sure.
next year, 2026.
Unless
Work
if there's something
plan.
that's close to being done and we have
Right.
a goal of finishing it by the calendar year.
Yeah,
but then
it could be
able to-
reflected
Yeah.
it could be reflected in a 2026 town manager select board work plan.
I think that'd be fantastic. And
All right.
maybe if you could consider, as we have had in the past with our strategic planning, we used to have strategic planning meetings.
We still did, right?
I think
Yeah.
it's been, yeah. a
Well, do
little
we have
while.
one this year? Maybe not. But it was usually in the spring, though. It was after
Yeah.
town meeting we would
Right.
do it.
Yeah,
If
We didn't do it this year, you're right.
If we could maybe look at scheduling one of those, I hate to do it, but like a 4-hour session. with
No,
the
no,
department
I
heads.
think that's important.
before the budget.
Well, if it's just solely focusing on the items in our strategic planning document, I just have to take another look and see if there are other 2026 budgetarial related items on there. But I think we do this since separate from our budget discussions.
Yeah, but do we need a 4-hour session for it with all the department heads?
Well, it all depends. I think in the past, when we've had those strategic planning meetings where they were usually half days.
Half
Rich,
day, right?
It was a half day and I
And we
think,
roll into department heads as needed.
yeah, I'm open to different options, Wendy, but I think that with the amount of content that exists in it currently, a lengthy meeting would probably be
It just
beneficial.
seemed, I thought we had gone through and a lot of things were in progress or had been finished, but I guess I have to review it.
I think there may be quite a few other.
You know,
things we
but
wanna
these,
add.
these are kind of maybe two different things. One is the town manager's work plan, and one is the select board's work plan.
Mhm.
But the other thing you're talking about is a strategic meeting
To discuss both.
to discuss both. But we can have our work plan, decide what we want as a board and what the town manager thinks we should have, and then we can talk to the department heads.
Sure.
I mean, just to
Right.
Yeah.
work off the list we have now,
Right,
update that list for 26, circulate that among department heads and then have our meeting at some point.
May I ask a
That's fine,
question?
no problem.
Are you utilizing the work plan that Mark had? And updating that as you move forward?
I've updated it once and I shared that in a more strategic planning kind of a format with the board last board
Right.
meeting.
Mhm.
And it was my intention to take that strategic planning document and making it more into an action plan style format so that we could look and see what the exact progress is on all of those items and who owns the next step.
Right.
I haven't had time to do that yet.
Okay,
Well, let's
Okay.
make that part of our review for
okay,
26. I mean, I like the draft that you presented us. I think that was
Yeah.
AI generated, I think you told me.
Yeah, yeah.
It was very intuitive, easy, good to understand, so,
I just want to take it one step further
and turn it into an action plan, and maybe that's when
Yeah.
we talk to department heads.
okay.
Yeah.
So let me progress with that and then we'll make a decision on when to meet later.
Yeah, that's fine,
Okay.
that's good. All right. Financial report. Anything new and exciting? I hope not. Then
I
just-
have one question. For line 4197.
Is that in the expense or
Under
revenue side?
the expenses,
Expenses,
says advertising and reg marketing,
yes, $2
$2.
placeholder.
Okay,
That's what it's
real.
there for.
It's been a
It's-
placeholder for a couple of years.
Okay,
So just to create a budget category to have if we ever were to put money in it.
okay, we have other categories without anything.
Do we?
Yeah. Sanitation, MSD, res, PERS, 4399.
Hmm.
That was a line item from 2024.
I figured that was a placeholder
Yeah.
or a carryover.
Yep.
Okay. I just think it's odd to have
There should be,
$2.
there should be a number of those.
I
Oh, yeah.
only see one in here.
In the more detailed breakout.
Yeah,
But anyway, that's what it
Okay.
is. If we're being inconsistent, then we could fix it. I mean, one way or the other.
It was kind of a pet project of Mark's. that
Yeah,
He
to-
started a couple of years ago to
Sort of
make
a,
that an economic development type thing that the town could do, whether it's through the website or through something else. And so
okay,
that's why
right,
he started off by funding it, but then the budget needed it to be reduced. And
Gotcha.
$2.
$2. Okay,
yeah.
We're still
That-
looking into that FEMA line.
Okay,
Wendy, we're trying to back into a disbursement that hit one of our citizens' bank accounts. So we've had a citizens' bank account that would funnel some federal money from time to time when we could offer disbursements and what have you.
okay,
And a large amount hit that citizens account in February of this year. And what we're trying to do is trying to find the backup. It says, the coding of it says something to do with FEMA, but I need to find the backup because whenever FEMA gives us a disbursement,
Mm.
they send us an email that specifies what those funds are for. And I'm having a hard time, but we're still looking to try to dig into where that backup is and
Yeah.
drill down into those monies.
those,
so even
you're
though
looking
it
for
was
those
hit in-
letters that came with it?
The what?
The letters that came with that disbursement?
from
We get an email from FEMA. Usually when
from back in February.
right,
Yeah.
usually, and to track down who that email went to, I have to look through Mark's emails. I'm just trying to find if we ever received a notification that those monies were coming in, or was it directed to us in error? To be frank with you, I'm not sure, so I have to
Yeah.
figure that out.
So
What's the amount?
it was,
I don't have the amount off the top of my tongue.
well, it had
It was
gone from,
upwards of
it had gone from,
$200,000.
yeah, it had gone from 98 or 95 to 336.
And I don't
Nice.
recall what,
336.
$200,000+. So
I'll have to.
it just needs a little more time if you don't mind.
So it hit,
Okay.
it hit the account in February, but not our accounting until a few weeks ago?
Right.
How does that happen?
So the bank reconciliation of the citizens account was on Katie's desk to do, and she did it, and then it got recorded. So that's how that happened. It's a very infrequently used bank account that we have had, and it is frankly sat static for a long time. We
Huh.
looked at it over the summer, saw it, and then it needed to record it.
Huh. Okay. I mean, I wasn't complaining about it.
No,
obviously.
but
I'm
we should-
really hoping I can find.
We'll make sure we have,
and prove that
we're supposed to have the money,
disbursement is legitimate, because that
Yes.
is a big
Yeah.
amount of money.
right?
Yeah,
Okay. Anything else on the financial report?
no,
Nothing? I don't have anything. Good, Wendy?
Yeah.
All right, let's move to the Director reports, I'm gonna pick arbitrary unless one of our directors needs to leave early. No, all right. Chief Payer, why don't we start with you?
What's the report? Is there anything on the report that you guys have questions about?
No, I don't think I had any. I wrestled through some of the jargon. Reminds me of my battle days, but yeah.
Do you have an update on the situation with the ambulance?
The ambulance, it should be coming in, I think Jim said today that sooner than later, but it was expected in the fourth quarter, so it's just kind of started, so. But we did have another agency come look at our old ambulance, which was very promising, but they said fourth quarter, so I mean, it just started, so it could be a month or two, I imagine.
I thought we were taking delivery.
November.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fourth quarter. So they said fourth quarter for the delivery, so anywhere from now until the end of the year.
I thought said it was by November. I was a little. So. Yeah, I guess we still have a couple weeks.
Yeah,
Okay,
but I don't
and
have,
that's on track.
yes, I don't have any updates at this.
And then we have one town interested in our old ambulance
As of right now.
or
yes.
two.
And they've actually come up and looked at the ambulance, so that's good.
And did they provide feedback after that?
Our ambulance is in great shape. I think they were just gonna assess it based on their situation in their town financially, and then they were gonna reach back out.
Okay.
Do you have anything, Wendy? I have one thing that I remember, but if you have it,
Nope, I didn't.
I'm just looking for, I want to make sure I get this correctly. So John Racine and I and our land planner, Liz Emerson, met a couple days ago to go over zoning for adding detached ADUs. And a question came up, and I'm wondering if maybe you can answer it, Chief. It has to do with how do you look at detached dwellings on the same property? If they're now that detached ADUs are allowed, which they weren't in the past, they now will be required to be allowed. How will the town track ADUs for the first responders, especially detached ADUs?
That's a good question. I think that's gonna be a Dave question.
Okay,
But I'm questioning how they wouldn't have to have some form of address on them.
Right.
right,
Like an
that
A
was
or-
the
So I
question,
would assume it's gonna have to be, so we have our ordinance for 911.
right?
Yeah.
I would imagine they would have to update I don't know how, I haven't heard how 911's gonna do it. Whether it's gonna be like an A or a B unit to the address. but
Right,
I think for 911 purposes in our ordinance, it's gonna have to be.
yeah,
Because otherwise, you're right, how are we gonna find it?
right.
Mm.
So,
I mean,
I haven't heard how they're specifically gonna do it, but that's.
okay, if you could just raise that
Absolutely.
with Dave and
I'll see if he's heard anything else that I haven't.
Yeah.
So,
we'll be touching on it briefly at the next planning board meeting. This is one of the questions we had.
I'll make sure he's aware of that.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all I had. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Chief. Oh, I know. Sorry, I have one more question. What's the status of our mobile trailer? The speedboard trailer? I haven't seen it.
Warranty right now.
Yeah.
The reason that's an issue is because it was a replacement trailer. So
Right.
I'm just fighting a warranty. The bill isn't very expensive, so I'm gonna give it a little while longer, but it's only $230.
Right, so how much is it worth your time? Right,
And, but the reason they're fighting is because the VIN doesn't match the original warranty, but they quickly forgot that it got hit and we replaced it just last year in June, and it's 2 years electronics. So I'm fighting with TDME on that, not fighting with them, but our original rep does not work for Decatur anymore. But he's still helping me out, so I'm gonna give it a little bit more of a fight. It's gonna be put away here in the next.
I was gonna say,
10 days,
it's,
so,
yeah, we
but yeah.
put it away for
I
the
think the bill
winter.
was $230+ so not even that great of a bill, so I'll fight it a little bit longer and then otherwise we'll give it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Megan, you seem to be next in line there. You look like you're excited and ready to go, so.
Always am.
Anything you'd like to add beyond your your written report?
Other than we took blocks out of the dam, Monday, we're gonna leave them out for a little bit. We'll put them back in before next Thursday when we take the boats out.
Was that because of the rain influx?
That's right, boats will be coming up soon, huh?
Do we know who all these utility folks are driving around town? Parking in the middle of the road?
Yes, that is the utility marketing company that HEB hired for Cascade Ridge, Lost Pass, and Bean Bender.
Oh, HEB hired them.
Correct. Yep. So HEB hired them because SW Cole, who is a contractor for them, did not. This is a lot of things have shifted. So as Bill alluded to previously, we're not going to be doing test borings any longer.
Yeah.
They still want locations for curb stops that aren't tied into anything. So like even lots that aren't, we don't have any ties for. So the only way to get that information is to have a listening device, that which we don't own. So they ended up contracting, can't remember the name of the company, they're out of Maine. But
Yeah.
that's who that is, Marketing Utilities.
It's municipal utilities, something or other.
Yes, that's
Okay,
who that is.
That's part of the road engineering project.
Yeah, the only reason I know that they're even here is because they stopped into the plant today to ask if I could provide them with our tie cards that we have, so I gave them everything we had. So that's all. I didn't have any heads up either. I don't believe Megan did either.
okay,
So
Yeah.
okay. I was just curious. I saw them by the golf course and I was there yesterday and I saw them up on Cascade
Yeah.
Ridge this morning. And they just, they actually had the car
Good to
parked
see.
right at smack in the middle of the road.
Did
One
you
of
have
the
any?
requirements of the contract with HEB is to coordinate with utility providers and Centerline Utility Services to confirm and mark
Yes.
the location of all existing utilities.
that's
Yeah,
it.
no, let's say, it's good to see it's happening. We need that engineering
How does
report.
that differ from the marking that our town did earlier this summer? Of all the utility stuff up on Cascade
We
Ridge,
just
for
marked the
instance.
mains out there. So anything that we don't have records for, which is not many, but you may not be surprised about for a lot of infrastructure. We only have locations primarily of our mains. So anything that they want for additional, so whether it's laterals, sewer laterals, water service lines, that's all going to be for a locating company, since we don't have the capacity or capability of doing it for them to sub it out.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
The goal is to minimize surprises when construction actually starts.
Yeah, and those are not good surprises.
Some of them can be,
Yeah,
yes.
One thing, Megan, I really like your note to public about the different fall preparation and cold weather prep. Are you putting those out on social media as well?
I have not, I figured, I didn't know what got sent. Or put into, minutes and things like that, cause I haven't looked at them. As of late, but. I
Yeah,
was just
you can
kinda
just throw it at
doing
them.
them.
I see you comment on the News and Views Facebook page to remind people of things. Yeah, those couple notes you have
Absolutely.
would be a
Yeah.
good place.
I think it's really nice, you know,
Yeah, no, they're
reminding
very good.
people, just so everyone knows, just, you know, inspecting insulation and careful of how you move your leaves around and
Yeah,
just,
like
you
don't
know,
plug up
stuff
our
that can
drainage
really, yes. Or your drains,
or your
yeah.
own drains, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Very
absolutely,
good.
yeah, I
That'd
can
be
start
great,
posting on the Facebook page.
cool, thank you.
I had a couple questions.
Mhm.
Where do we stand on the handrail issue with
It's in
with Golden
progress,
Eagle?
right?
In progress, all right, that's always a nice neutral, safe answer. Next topic.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
Harry reached out to me,
Good.
I reached back out to him, but.
Harry
yeah,
Stearns,
Harry Stearns,
Oh, right,
Um,
okay, oh, he's doing some of the work.
not make him yet. But I did send over Tina, and Wendy a packet of quotes I have received to date, paper quotes I've received to date, So we're kind of just waiting to see if Tina's hopefully cost effective option is truly cost effective. If not, we're gonna be in the 50 grand range.
Yeah,
For
'cause-
handrails on the.
50, comma?
yeah, Megan
Wow.
had found some really nice stainless railings that would hold up to the abuse that they're subjected to. But of course, the cost was commensurate with their quality, and
Yeah.
the Golden Eagle wants both sides of the pathway to have.
Well, that alone, I
railings,
mean, because
no,
that's about
exactly.
double of what I think the initial
Exactly.
cost
Exactly.
was.
Yes, so, you know, in respecting their wishes on this, it was kind of back to the drawing board. But Tina had had something installed on her property that seemed doable. If y'all remember, the previous railing had like the circles that the railing fed through, so the
Mhm.
railing would come apart and it just wouldn't work. This has the railings connected to the inner planes of the wood posts, so it seems like there'd be more structure to them. And if nothing else, it'd be hopefully easier to repair. But yes, we're just, as Megan said, waiting to see if the costs reflect what we think will be a savings. Both short and long term.
Mhm. But the companies that I got the in range of 50 grand. Quotes from say they can do it by December. So,
And Harry has a team that has just been working on doing some railings as well and other properties or fences on other properties, and he feels like they could crank it out, so it's just waiting on that information.
Okay,
So we put a limit on the town portion
We don't have any budget for it.
in the.
yeah, that's what I was about to
Right.
ask.
So that's why we're waiting and hoping that this will be a lower price option. And then the other thing is, I don't know if we would want to differ. Due to budget constraints and have just one side on the town portion of the land. Unfortunately, that is also the steepest portion. So it would go contrary to the Golden Eagle's wishes.
So in other words, we have a completely different plan taking place at
Potentially,
a significantly higher cost over
Well-
what was presented.
A different
A couple
plan, but I
meetings ago.
don't think we know about the cost yet.
but we were looking
Well-
at, I think, overall about 26, with the town portion of that being what, around 9? But that was the initial preliminary. Now we're someplace else, I think is what you're saying.
We're someplace else significantly higher potentially
We
on the
don't know.
town portion.
We don't
Okay,
know.
well, let's see what we get for it. Let's see what the overall numbers are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all
This
we
is
can do
why
at
I
this
didn't
time.
want to approve that before.
I understand, but we are also working collaboratively with another entity and sometimes
Well,
things
we,
don't go smoothly.
right, well, the approval was for not to exceed, I think, 10,000, correct? For the
Yes.
town portion, so if this exceeds that, then we're gonna have to come back and and discuss it. Decide whether to move forward with it or stick to our $10,000 approval. So,
Well, it's a different plan. It's a whole other concept, so.
okay. Yep, just keep us apprised. How things are going in that.
Yep.
On that front. I have one more question. Let me just pull up again. Was it, that was the handrail project. Yeah, no, we had said, I think, at our last meeting that we were going to discuss at today's meeting, the submission by the athletic center for their dumpster enclosure
Screening.
proposal to us. We did not include it in our discussion today, at least when we set the agenda. So,
last I remember leaving off was we were gonna wait through winter to see how it fared through the seasons.
Okay.
That would be my recommendation, to go through the winter with their proposed,
Screening.
screening for,
and-
right,
if it works through the winter, possibility could be kept that way. If it doesn't work through the winter, then it would need to be change.
And it's still in advance of the
July.
July
July.
2026 deadline.
Deadline.
So,
Okay, have we informed WMAC?
I've not.
Okay, we should get, well, we need to decide if that's acceptable to the board. Is to let it run through the winter and then make a decision, so basically defer a decision. On whether it meets the requirements. Enough.
Thereafter July,
No.
because we have a lot of other enclosures that are not up to spec currently,
but
Right,
they have until July of 2026.
as does the
Right.
White Mountain.
right, but they actually provided us with a plan and said, is this good enough?
Sure,
Right,
So some of those I think you're talking about have not provided anything.
correct.
right.
Correct.
So it's on them.
Yeah.
They, but I think we're trying to be helpful to those who would give us a plan.
Yeah.
So whether or not we thought it was okay, so they can make arrangements and
Sure.
spend the money and not spend the money and then find out, no, that's not good enough.
So I think what Megan's suggesting is we give the winter an
Mhm.
opportunity to evaluate if this option is,
Right.
Mhm.
is
All right.
viable.
Well, we check with Rennie and see if that's acceptable. I suppose he can insist he would like a decision before that, but then we'll decide, but if he's willing to wait, we'll look at it in the spring. Whenever that is. I think part of it too, part of their proposal was to make sure they get two of the newer
Right,
dumpsters, so that the little bit of the dumpster that pokes up above their screening will sort of just blend in with their screening. So that would be helpful. I don't know how often you guys change out dumpsters.
All the dumpsters that were allocated to locations have already received them
Oh,
for
okay,
this year.
okay, so he has what he has, is what you're saying, for this year?
For this year.
Okay. Well, that's fine, since we're not making a final determination anyway. I think just record that. I think if we do approve it, I think it will come with the provision that we give them two newer dumpsters, so it looks better.
do you have the allocation of dumpsters for that, or that'll be part of the budget process?
It'll be in the CIP.
Yeah, okay.
And, all right, so another deferred. Talked about, oh, yes, so, I know we've always in the past, removed the delineators and the crosswalk pedestrian signs at the same time. Is there any particular reason why we can't keep those pedestrian signs there? The reason I ask is that they do have the salutary effect of slowing traffic down. Especially when you first come into town, this first couple and by Packard Field. I know we take them up because of weather, but
Yeah, we took them up in coordination with delineators this year, because I mean, weather's all over the place, but at the time when we picked them up, we were seeing some sleet possibly in the future. Obviously, things have
oh,
changed.
there will be
So-
fleet in the future,
Well, it
And
was
snow.
a week and a half out from when we looked.
right?
so-
Okay,
It would be nice to have them in. For whatever, is it a big deal to put some back out?
How many are there?
7,
7?
what I was told.
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would, for safety reasons, I would just keep them out there
Yeah.
until, I mean, we could always be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the nature of the beast, but to keep them out there until we have a definitive ice or snow
Yeah.
definitely coming, and then we'll just take them up, if there's only 7 of them, so. What do you guys think?
That seems reasonable.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That
so if you can put them back. down.
Pam, when are we getting snow?
Not today.
Yeah,
There was a coating of hail on 49 on the way up here.
was there?
Really?
Nice,
Really?
all right. All right, thank you. I think, I think you were on vacation at the time, but we decided not, you've got the word, we decided not to spend the $4,500 on the one tree
Yes.
removal.
I
Okay,
watched the select board.
you saw it, great, thank you. Thank you very
What a way
much.
to spend your vacation.
I
Yeah,
really watched them, so.
but everything else, as far as the tree removals are concerned, yeah, I think you mentioned to me when we last talked about it, you hope to do it in October. But all the other trees are
Yep, everything else is
set
taken care of. for now,
set
yep.
for removal. Something for more of your long range planning.
Mhm.
You know that area where we have the gazebo on Snows Mountain Road, just up past,
Yes.
right? A few years back, we gladed it and it looked really nice. It needs
I
it needs
was gonna
work.
ask about that
Yeah.
during the budgetary process,
Yeah.
if you wanted to do that.
There are a number of trees that have come down. I mean, so if you guys ever get the urge to get the chainsaws out,
Oh, we-
that'd be a good
we-
place.
We had the urge, about a month and a half ago to go clear it. so.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think probably, I mean, since we're just talking about ones on the ground, you know, that have
Mhm.
fallen, blowdowns, what have you. I don't see how it would impact the budget so much. It just is part of the maintenance of town property.
Sure.
Again, that's not necessarily for now, but if you're, you know, a project, I think
Absolutely.
to take care of. Thank you. And I think that's all I had for DP. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I have one more thing. Where do we stand on the wall with regard to Alan Burko's request? Have we heard anything further on that?
Piper's supposed to reach the.
Yep.
Current.
Just want to make
owner
sure a
of Piper is
constituent
supposed to reach
is,
out.
so waiting for Piper to talk to
Alan,
Alan.
Mhm.
Okay,
yeah, I'll give him a,
yeah, if we keep him
next
up to
week, I'll
date.
try to follow up, but I just talked to them very recently.
Okay, yeah, I
About
just want,
coordinating with Alan to make sure his wall is situated.
okay, I just wanted to keep up on
Yeah.
that since
I
he
took the same note.
was. Good, yeah, gotta keep our constituents happy, at least as much as possible. Especially on the important things. All right, that's all I had. Thank you. Thank you, Megan. Hi, Brooke. So the boats are coming up, I just heard.
Yeah.
Great,
Couple of things to add or bring up.
Yeah.
Outside of the report, although the one is in it that we would like to request. At a $700 donation be made.
right, we need to do a motion on that, right?
So if we can just make a motion on that, that would be great. Plymouth Area Community Closet is the nonprofit that $5 of each race entry goes to that. So it's a little bit lower this year because we did have fewer numbers. this year.
Right, yeah, it did strike me as lower than
Yeah.
in the past.
Well, I'll make the motion that we donate the $700 raised by the fall foliage foot race from the rec department to be donated to the Plymouth Area Community Closet.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
great,
Great. And then also I did get a quote back from the Mission Turf. Company.
Yeah.
And what the recommendation is that they come and cut out the damaged area. And deliver and install sod. It's about 2,000 square feet. And the price is $4,000.
To do that now or in the spring?
In now.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I do have a question out to him of like, how late can you put it in just before freezing? Or is it meant to get in there so that it
Yeah.
has a couple of weeks before freezing? So that question is out to him, but I first wanted to see if you were in favor of going the route or if you wanted to try something in the spring.
Yeah, I guess I don't understand why I wouldn't wait till the spring, but I mean, I'm not a turf expert.
I could ask that question.
Dan?
You can certainly put sod in October. I've
Yeah.
done that before, but if that's the recommendation, it's what, couple thousand square feet?
2,000.
So $4,000.
So we're talking $4,000.
We have 2710 left in the field care
Yeah. so-
line.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of money left in that line because remember we had stopped
Right.
everything.
Right.
We learned
All the
about
maintenance.
the stars.
Right,
And I did reach out to him and say, is this something we need to do in the fall or the spring? And he did reply, that doesn't mean it can't be done.
So we need to come up with another 1,300 from some other account.
Mhm.
You can pull it from my summer maintenance.
You have some left over from this summer.
Is that an appropriate place to pull money from or use money from?
It would seem so.
Yeah, that summer maintenance is a real grab bag. It's just summer maintenance, which includes lawn work.
And I guess the other question is, what's the plan going forward about the use of the
That's the big question. right?
Because another idea is if there is a plan to allow them to come back, that's the spot for it.
That's what they want. Well, we've not,
I mean, that's the
there's
deal.
nothing in front of us. I mean, that could be a reason to wait until the spring. Or are we even going to entertain them using that?
I think the
In the future.
agreement this year was that they were going to use it for 1 year and 1 year only.
Yes.
That was our
And
understanding.
That
yes.
was our understanding.
Yep.
Um,
But that doesn't mean they can't come back. And in fact, I think they are planning to come back.
and if they come
ask.
back, we have the option of rejecting that request. The field was considerably damaged. It's $4,000. The amount of money that the town puts into the budget to support them is, I believe, $5,000 a year. And
I'd have to look at it.
this
I thought it was
is,
2,000.
or, no, I think it was 5,000, but
The point is,
the point is
That-
this is over and above
right,
that. And this isn't something we can do year after year.
2,500.
Yeah.
Oh, it's $2,500.
2,500, right.
So it would be significantly more than we allocate to try and help support them.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to know why we wouldn't wait until the spring to replace the sod,
Yeah.
if there's
I
a
mean, I
detriment
can
to
certainly
waiting.
find that out and let Steve know, that by the end of this
Okay,
week.
that seems like a
Okay.
nice thing at this
But
point.
to your
I'm gonna have to
point,
do it anyway.
and I think that, that this decision needs to be made because what is typical of that group is to ask us, come to us about a month before, and request this space and sort of like there's no other.
I
place to
understand
go.
that.
Right, so that is a good, I realize that you do, so I'm just saying that we should make a decision, maybe reach out to them on what our decision is.
Well, we can certainly reach out to Donna and see if they're planning to request use again. My understanding was that they are. But she's not done that. I mean, she's not sent anything and requested, so we need to find out from her. I think the answer is gonna be yes. So we'll be able to decide whether or not we want to. Irrespective of the
The
sod
answer's gonna be
issue.
yes, that she's gonna come back, you mean?
Yes, that she's going to request.
Yes.
Yes, that's gonna be a
So-
request, yes, thank you.
So we're in a perpetual situation if we then agree to let them use that space where that
A year by year
sod will be
basis.
damaged.
Yeah, no, it'll be a
every
year by
year.
year basis, and the question is
And-
is it worth it to the town?
Or the other question is if there's another way for them to set it up where it will not damage the sod if we were to
Mm.
entertain the thought. And I'm not saying that there is or that they
Yeah.
would go that way, but
I went out with
It's-
her this last spring to sort of mark it out, and she was very, very specific about where she wanted it, so that it would work.
well, I understand that, but okay.
Well,
Probably
let's,
discussion for another time.
yeah, no, I mean, let's reach out, let's get confirmation that they are, or not, gonna request. Let's see if it has to be the fall,
Okay,
if we can put it off to the spring, I mean,
yeah, I just wondered if we want to take advantage of that leftover money in that line. 'Cause,
Yeah.
that was one of my
Sure.
driving thoughts for figuring it out this time.
well, our next meeting won't be until November to make a decision, that may be too late, right?
This was another, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
when we spoke at our last meeting, I believe it was our last meeting, we had a list of 4 or 5 entities and organizations that Mark really
we're a part of,
Yeah.
right?
This was one I don't think we included on
We
that
did not.
list
Right.
because he
Right.
really had that relationship more so than I think anybody else, with the exception of, Brooke, maybe a little bit from time to time.
Mhm.
So maybe,
Well,
like
and
you said,
I've
it's,
worked with her a fair amount, because my daughter was part of that program for, gosh,
And
15 years.
okay. But from a
13
town
years.
support standpoint, I know that the organization really leaned upon DPW in the past heavily to store their,
Right.
their
And we are
stage
We
and,
still are,
Still storage.
some of
Yep.
this stuff.
and set it up to some extent, so
Right.
maybe we need a little more thought on this.
No, I think
Yes.
we do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it does bring a value to the town.
Yeah, just how it's orchestrated.
Right,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's well attended
Yep, and just work on the planning ahead of time. a
and
bit more.
whatnot. So, I mean, it may not be we could do it there, or
Right.
if they want our help, or we do it a different manner there. So we can divorce the decisions from each other, but if we can see if it's the better time to do it in October,
Okay,
because we're gonna do it anyway, right?
sure, I can get an answer very quickly on that.
Right.
And then possibly an item we can add to the strategic
Yeah,
working
no,
plan.
sure,
Yeah.
sure, something to do. Well, then the question is if they recommend that October is the best time to do it, as I said, we're not gonna meet again. What's the board's approach?
I'm okay with fixing it once.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I
not
mean, that would-
okay with fixing it.
Well, then
every year.
that would impact the decision you make going forward in the future,
That's right.
right?
And just to be clear, the damages were from holes from the post, is that correct?
Not just the whole
No,
post,
it's
but
the whole
big
stage.
wide area.
The tent.
The
The
grass
stage
was
as well?
killed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually
tent.
don't know.
It was
where-
the tent.
Yeah, is it the tent? Just
The tent area is just the,
stage.
It's
and the stage
and
is
the
just
tent.
rectangular
Yeah,
And
dirt
that,
now. There's no grass.
and that grass won't grow back, is what they're saying.
I
No,
mean, not
There's-
without some attention.
Yeah, there's no
And it
grass
might
there
take
to
some
grow.
time. I mean, he offered that as the fastest, option.
Hmm.
And the post, I know the post
I haven't
created some
gone
damage, but
to
I.
look to see if the holes are still there or
Yeah.
not, but.
The
If-
post is more of a fill them in and
Yeah,
grassy
He
type
came
thing.
out and looked at it, so he knows exactly what, he's
Right,
dealing
but
with.
it's,
so
there's a big area where
Yeah.
the tent was and where the stage was.
if the posts haven't been filled in, it becomes a safety issue
think
with
that-
respect to any
I think they were filled
soccer
in.
activities.
Yeah.
They
So
were filled in.
They were filled in.
Right, it's a question, yeah. Those are, I don't think it's the post that's so much the issue, it's the two big areas.
if we're going to allow use of this field for other activities that are going to cause significant damage of the field, we're gonna need to reconsider whether or not we're going to even keep that field as a soccer field,
Hmm.
okay? Soccer fields are extremely expensive to put in.
Right.
Originally. They cost a lot of money because they're leveled and, they're, a lot of work goes into making a soccer field a
Well,
soccer field.
ours isn't really
Well,
The natural.
but it is, and we've been using it as a
as,
soccer
right,
field.
but for.
I
not
don't know what work was
for
done in the past to make
Team,
it a.
well, it's
soccer
more
field.
drainage and whatnot.
Ever since the budget has been appropriated, that line, which was, I don't know, that
Right.
must have been 21.
Maintenance and
20, 21,
drainage, yeah.
Which is turf repair, because there's a major drainage problem on
Yeah.
that field, and we continue to deal with it, but part of the, maintenance and care we've been doing for the last 4 years is helping that drainage problem, so
Mhm.
that was the bigger issue.
Right. It wasn't making it a soccer field per se,
Right.
It's used as a soccer field primarily, but.
right?
It was there naturally
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
flat
that
area.
field was just there.
Yeah.
No, I'm fine with going and doing it in the fall. But I could wait too, I mean, we have to do it either or, right?
If we do, again, I'm not a grass expert, and if that really is what we have to do to repair it, then fine, but if there really isn't a cheaper option like seeding it, which I don't understand
It's
what,
not cheaper to seed it. I mean,
Okay.
it's the money that we put in it prior to knowing about Theater on the Stars was almost $4,000 this year to do the regular seeding and aerating and things that we're doing.
Okay.
So.
I think we should get it repaired. That way it's fresh in the
Okay.
spring. The landscaping companies are all jammed up come April, May. Trying to get them back out here might be miserable.
I would just
Good
hate to
point.
do it and then have, the frost that's impending on us,
Well, he would
make
have
it not grow
Be
well.
some guarantee,
and
I guess.
There would have to be a guarantee,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So go ahead and, so we'll take the money from the remainder in that account
Summer maintenance.
and summer maintenance.
Sure.
We need a motion on that? Motion to spend, was it 4,000 or was it a little above, a little below, do you know? $4,000 to sod the damaged areas of Packard's Field. Money to come from the remainder of the line that deals with drainage and maintenance in Packard Field and remainder of that money and take the balance from the summer maintenance fund of DPW. I have a second?
You want to second it?
Well, if you guys don't want to do it, we
No, I
don't have to
want
do it.
second that. Yeah,
All right, well, then you don't want to do it. We won't do it.
yeah, I'd like to wait.
All right. We will wait.
Okay.
Anything else?
One other thing is I did meet with Megan today about the sign, regarding, the Home of America's First Network of Trails.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, thank you. I
And
forgot about
I
that.
think Megan and I, have a good idea. We're going to look at the freestyle skiing sign
Yeah,
and see if we can, I guess that's, a little warped and could use some love, so maybe having that, getting some.
Incorporate.
Yeah, incorporate that and get some proof of, the trail. America's First Network of Trails on it. And then possibly, we'll bring you some proofs, possibly, like Waterville Valley established a year with the population, if that's interesting to the select board in town to have that. But basically having one sign, so now we don't have to get permits for a new sign if we use the exact.
No, it's a
same
great
signs.
idea.
Yeah.
No,
And
that's a
then we
great
could have
idea.
Like a new sign for the freestyle skiing that would be, a little bit more affordable.
No, I would say absolutely proceed with that. Good idea.
Okay, and if you want us to include the Waterville Valley established in 1829 with the population.
Well, we
without
have that
population.
down at the town line.
We do, but it's not like.
Or
Either
If it can
way,
fit, it won't be too busy or, we're not,
yeah, we can provide a couple different.
Yeah.
So I
variations.
already reached out to the sign company
Yeah.
to start making proofs. They said they'd get back to me tomorrow or Friday with some proofs, so.
Yeah, I think the established makes sense, but the population we used to have, and we ended up taking it down because it was always wrong, right?
Yeah,
So maybe
Yeah.
just the established.
Great,
yeah, and we'll either approve it at our next meeting. We'll be meeting certainly a couple times before that. So if you get it all
okay,
good for something to show us at one of our special meetings before our next regular meeting, just throw it on the agenda and we'll
okay,
pass on it then. Great, thank you. Anything else? Brooke?
no, I'm all done.
Okay, Dan or Wendy, anything for DPW?
No, thank you.
All righty, thank you. All right, administrative services.
We mailed the third quarter water and sewer bills on.
Yes, and they have been
10/15
received, so.
With a due date of 11/21. On those bills, we kept the same format that Q2 and Q1 followed. So folks who are receiving the water and sewer, what's totally due, are also seeing if there is any outstanding property tax balance on
Right,
that
I know
same
we
bill.
talked about that, yeah.
This triggered multiple calls this week to town hall. It appears that we had a problem with the mail. Surprise, surprise, but we had, what are we up to now, Kristen? 30 plus calls?
35.
Of residents who did not see their period 1 tax bill in the mail.
Really?
So Kristen had taken the effort to contact the USPS and file a claim to say what the heck is going on. Cause it drew that many phone calls to.
Wait, run that by me again?
So our period 1 tax bills mailed on May.
Yeah,
12th.
that's, So, okay,
So in this
People
Q
s- right.
three water and sewer bill, people are seeing their tax bill that was outstanding. From period one, and they
I
were
see.
calling saying, oh my God, I always use the bill as a trigger to pay.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, and they're getting us.
I see. So we are carrying them as delinquent.
Yeah.
But we hadn't followed up
They're
on
just
it.
They're carrying interest.
Right, we normally don't follow up, we just
Most of
add
them
it,
that I spoke to are older people and
Right.
they don't use technology, so they don't go on and
Sure.
look at their account online. and
right,
That's the first time they saw something that triggered, like, I haven't.
so
seen
they
that.
didn't get their bill potentially.
Right. So it's a good thing now that we're starting to collect, but a concern at the USPS to what happened with the, our mailing that day.
Yeah.
In some segments of the country, at least, right?
A lot of Massachusetts.
A lot of Massachusetts folks.
Really,
So
okay,
that's tax bills, not water
Property.
and
the
Yeah.
property bill.
the
yeah,
property tax.
Correct.
Right, so.
So do we? Given the magnitude of this problem, do we waive the
Oh, yeah, of course,
interest associated with that?
yeah, they never got the bill.
If they're not getting the bills,
Yeah.
but we have no means of
So-
proving that
I've
they
been
didn't get the
talking to
bills.
them individually and asking everybody that calls about that particular thing, 'cause it was first time in 10 months that I've been here that that's ever happened.
Mhm.
And so I look at each individual account and their history of their payments.
Yep.
And all of them were never delinquent, they always paid on time. And that's what I would suggest that we waive that interest.
No, that's reasonable.
Because it was something that.
Yeah, well, they never got the
Happened.
bill, I
Yeah, they
mean,
didn't get the bill,
if it were one or two or even three people,
yeah. I
but
was
30
on the
some
phone,
odd
like, all
people,
day
I think
yesterday. That's
the
all I
Occam's
did.
razor principle kind of fits that.
Sure.
So we shouldn't charge
It's a
that.
matter of fairness.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
hoping for some guidance today, so.
Yeah,
Good.
no,
I have requested that, because normally if you have to waive a tax, any type of tax fee, we
Right.
ask for it in writing,
Right.
just because we wanna make sure that we cover ourselves against, the DRA or whatever.
Yeah.
So I have asked them to, like, if they had a concern, they didn't wanna pay that, to just email me, send me something saying that they'd like the select board to waive that fee.
Keep on.
Okay.
top.
yep, no, that's
I,
the proper way to do it.
I think the
Okay.
select board should take an action to uniformly not charge them that interest for all of these people who happen to fall into that.
Right, but it's
category.
appropriate to get the request in writing.
Yeah, I don't know if all of these individuals will submit a request in writing. That's the concern I have.
Well.
It
hopefully
also leads to an undue burden for us to be receiving a bunch of additional mail and trying to keep track of that for who did what.
Well,
When we can
I-
take a simple action that says that
But
for
Chris,
this quarter, for these people, this interest will not be charged.
But Kristen's saying we have to get it in writing, right, to
I mean,
be
normally
appropriate.
we request it, so that way it shows on the books that we have a direction that we've abated that amount or waived that amount. We have a document.
Can
says
that
it's not just me
direction-
Picking up the phone and I answer and I say, yeah, of course I'll waive that, cause that shows.
Yeah.
Right. Can that direction come from the select board though?
Yeah.
So the select board, prepare a document that we sign that provides you what you need for the tax records.
Mhm.
I would prefer that they,
I mean,
Yeah, I would too.
Cause basically on a case by
I
case basis.
object
that's what I'll
strongly,
just-
but-
Some people might not even bother with it, but others that do, they can just email me. It's very simple and most of them do email.
it
Right,
sounds to me like
Doesn't have
most
to
of
be a
these
letter.
people are, for one, honest and
They have
forthcoming with respect to paying their bills, with the history of paying their bills on time and such. What happens when somebody starts paying you the interest then because their bill happened to say they owed interest? They didn't call, but yet they,
Right. Well,
so,
but then I wouldn't know if they received it or they just looked online, but if they call and say they actually didn't receive the bill. Then I know that they are ones that are looking for those bills to be coming. And if they can write, because most of them will write a check, they won't do anything electronic, so if they're writing me a check, sending it in the mail, they put a little post-it on it that says. Please waive my interest because I didn't receive the bill, that's all I need.
Mhm.
I just take a picture of that and I put it in my file. And I waive that interest.
Pretty straightforward.
It's not a big request, but it does cover us.
And that's important, I think.
It is important for taxes.
Yeah, I would agree with that approach.
But if you say you want to make a motion to waive those interests, that's fine, and then I will take that next step. That when they call, I will tell them, yes, it will be waived, just send me something in writing. And it's a done deal.
Yeah, I guess we're saying the same thing, right? We
Yep.
agree that it should be waived, but we need to
Right.
make sure the town is covered and have it in writing, even if it's just a post-it
Well,
note.
that's why I thought if Kristen drafted a appropriate document. That we as the select
To-
board
to whom?
sign to waive that interest for. This group of individuals, I think we're accomplishing the same thing with a single action.
But I think we don't need to do that from what Kristen's saying. It sounds
Right,
like
you
you're
can just
adding a layer.
Say that you'd like to do that,
Yeah, I
I
think, we
will take that on.
right, we take a
You
motion
give me
to,
the authority to do
to-
that.
I will
Upon-
make a motion. I don't even know how to word this motion because I don't know how many people are involved.
well, I don't
Um,
think you have to say the number of people, but it's your motion, go ahead.
Let's. I will move. That the town of Waterville Valley will waive the interest charge to the individuals who did not receive their tax bills during
Period 1,
period 1,
2025.
2025.
I would amend that, upon receipt of something in writing from them. Saying that they did not receive the bill.
That's fine.
I'll second that.
Done, all in favor?
Right?
Aye,
Good.
okay.
That-
Where were we on administrative services, right?
Yeah, that's really the only highlight that I had, unless anyone had any other questions.
Okay, I had, oh yeah, where do we stand, since you and Kristen are engaged now, where do we stand on the tax collector status?
Yeah, so we had a call with town council Monday, Tuesday this week.
Yeah, because you're busy all day Monday.
Thank you for pressuring me to make that
I
call.
only saw his face one time.
Could you provide just a quick update of how that call went?
So we talked to town council and we gave them what we were looking for, that we wanted to move to the next step of removing tax collector duties from the town manager position. And we wanted to know how we go about making that special meeting, what the deadlines were. There's a big time frame around doing each thing. So, and our suggestion was we'd like to have it done by the end of the year because it would save us an extra audit.
Mhm.
He didn't know if that was feasible, but he was gonna try to work out something for us this week to see what it would look like if we tried to get it done by the end of this year. And then if not, then we would move into the next
Be too
year.
close.
And,
Okay.
you know, I don't think that you might, probably not gonna hire a town manager before the first of the year anyway, but. Then I would still be under Steve as a deputy and we could still do that transition in January if that's a better calendar scenario for changing those duties over. And getting it elected by the town by ballot.
Hmm.
So he's supposed to get back to us this week.
Okay, any questions? Yeah,
Not on
all
that.
right, well, just keep us apprised, as I say. That's, I think, all I had.
Where do we stand with respect to letters that were gonna go out for the list of folks with the delinquent water bills?
The 2 quarters we talked about.
Yeah, so,
You want to talk about it non-public?
yeah, if you don't mind, Kristen
All right,
spent some time getting examples of other communities and
Okay.
how they handle situations like that.
Sure.
And so I have 3 examples on my desk that I've started to review. My thought to Kristen was, why don't we take our thoughts of the 3 and create a Waterville Valley letter to share with the board for your
Okay.
consideration.
Approval.
Yeah.
If that's okay, rather than having to look at, for you to have to look at three and discuss it,
Yep.
let me get you one.
All right, no,
Yep, that's
that's
fine.
fine.
Good.
Yeah.
But now we have
That's-
another quarter out, so
Yeah,
people could be falling further behind
true,
potentially.
we're working on it.
All right, so we'll wait for you to provide us with that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
Talk to them about site.
Today.
Okay.
We're good?
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on and crawl towards calendar review. We have a special meeting on the 23rd at 11:15. That is, I believe, a non-public meeting for a legal purpose. We have a special select board meeting on the 29th at 9 AM. Both of them, by the way, are here. And that is to discuss further the website being put together by our strategic communications.
For the treatment plant project?
Yes.
Yeah.
Our next regular select board meeting is on 5 November at 3 PM here. And I believe the planning board will be meeting on the 13th of November here at 8:30 AM it says, so I guess they're moving it back.
Yep.
Is that gonna be a regular 8:30 instead of 8 o'clock?
We hope so.
Okay,
Oh, really? It's getting moved?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it helps staff get prepared
yeah.
in advance of the meeting.
Do we have a meeting of any sort scheduled for the committee reviewing the resumes to come back to us and provide us with their status?
That's my goal tomorrow, when I send them the second round of resumes. I was gonna inquire about scheduling for a follow-up meeting to discuss all the applicants.
Okay,
But that was within that group, not
Right,
with us.
nothing to the select board, is that what you're asking?
Oh, sorry, Dan.
well, I'm asking with reference to the select.
Oh,
board.
okay.
No, I don't think we were looking at it that way.
No.
We're
not
gonna let them
us.
do their work. You can at any time you want, since you're a select board member, request to see any resume you'd like to see. But I
Try to
thought
follow
we
the
agreed to follow this process of turning this over to them and having them coming up with winnowing down the resumes to X number of people and then determining, then initial screening, then
Interview.
interview. And I think I asked at the beginning of the meeting at some point to get a report back from them
Yeah.
on where things stood in that regard, but
Yeah, I
not-
would like a status.
Yeah, but not an actual
Yeah.
meeting
Back
about the
from them.
resumes or anything like that,
Sure.
Right.
so.
Yeah, I would like a status back from them on where we stand. We looked at 50 resumes. They all suck, 2 were good, whatever that might be.
Yeah, no,
If you
so,
will,
yeah, we were,
and I would like,
What's
if
that?
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
just- I would like to at least get a sense of the next step in the process. Because if they've looked at all these resumes and they decide that all of them are bad and we need to take a next step or a different step,
Yeah.
then it would be prudent for us to know that sooner than later,
Yes,
Yeah,
so that we
Yes.
can get
yeah,
an ad out or
or do something.
do
Right,
something
Amplify,
different.
amplify.
or the
everything.
headhunter
Exactly.
as we, no, that's
if-
the plan, yeah,
And if that's the decision,
then we do
then they
that,
need to communicate somehow with
Yeah.
us so that we know that.
right,
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all I'm
okay.
trying to request.
Well, it would just be a matter of whether we wanna have them provide something to us by our 5 November meeting in 2 weeks.
Yeah, maybe if Margaret could come and.
Yeah, well, let's
Give us an
check
update or
with,
something,
check
or-
and see if where they think they'll
Or
be in their
Steve
process
has all
by
the
the,
information. he can give
by
us.
the 5th of November, they can provide us a status update at our
Sure, yeah.
next agenda, regular meeting,
Okay,
right?
Or if we're scheduling a
Interview.
work session, if,
yeah, I would
you
just,
know, if we have an intermediary meeting. that
Oh,
we're
yeah,
putting
other
on.
than the 2 we already have, you mean?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, sure, no,
Because, right, we're talking about a work session for the town manager work, you know,
oh, the work plan,
sorry. drawing a
yeah,
blank.
yeah,
Yes.
with the work
Getting late.
plan, yeah, we haven't put, yeah, that's still, we have 2 already on the books between now and our regular meeting, the 23rd and the 29th. We are looking to put another one, whether it's before that, the
Right.
5th is, I think, what's an open question there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
All
sure
right.
enough.
Yay.
All right, so shall we move on to board concerns and directives? So ex officio reports, anything, Wendy, you want to, solid waste
The
or?
MSW group is meeting in November. We're going to the every other month meeting, so
Right.
nothing to report there. But I did have something that I'd like for the town to figure out, and I don't know the appropriate method. But the New Hampshire Electric Co-op with the two outages that we've had in the past month
Yeah.
during really nice weather that have been incredibly disruptive to the business economy in town. This can't keep happening. And who do we reach out to? I know Mark had a contact, but I don't know if you know who that contact was, Steve. But we've got to figure out, do we know
Right.
what the causes have been?
First one wasn't that extensive, but
Right,
the one last Sunday was,
And
I
that
think
was-
mine was out 10 hours. Other people had
it
different.
was staggered differently throughout town, which
Yeah,
makes me
mine
really
was-
nervous.
They were working late until the night.
Mine was out much longer than that.
Yeah, I mean, if something
Much,
happened
much longer.
down maybe at the transfer, I don't know, and it just cascaded through.
It just seemed
the
odd
town,
that
as
it
if
was so
lines
different
were-
for so many.
Lines
different
or
areas
equipment
of
were
town.
damaged all the way down for whatever happened. I don't-
The athletic club had, the computer system or board or whatever that
Right.
runs their,
Yeah,
that-
HVAC
that-
system got blown out.
yeah, no, there are a lot of power surges.
Chief,
Just,
Payer, did you, have you heard anything about what that power outage involved? Tim,
This
did you?
gentleman right here.
Yeah, Tim?
I reported on Tuesday meeting about the co-op having on the outage map, having the.
Right, it was just Waterville Valley.
yeah,
But it has a spot on the map that says there's a transformer that needs to be replaced. That's at the bottom of Snows Mountain. It says it's specifically for the lift. They have not contacted us. But it is on the map saying that transformer is faulty and looks like it needs to be replaced.
Is
I
there
know that
one,
Marissa
which one they're
had
talking
contact
about?
With their engineers,
Yeah,
and they just stated that they had a heck of a time trying to figure out where the problem was at. And this is where they believe the problem is.
okay. Yeah, they were working down there later in the evening. I think they
Even
finally,
the next day,
in the next day.
yeah.
So they think that transformer was somehow
They think
responsible for
there's
the whole thing?
something wrong with that transformer that's causing the issues on that side of town.
Okay, well,
I had
good to
power
know.
issues the next
yeah,
day.
but I do think that the
Took
town
pretty
should follow
serious
up with them because we
glitch.
need to oversee our business
yeah, we can certainly ask.
economy and just make sure that,
I think his name is Bill.
Yeah,
okay,
Bill Johnstone.
yeah, if you
Could
could
send
check
an
with
email.
them and just ask, hey, if it is a problem to transform, when there's gonna be replaced might be the,
Sure.
It says it on the outage map.
it does have it on the,
Yeah,
I
if you
haven't looked
go
at
to
it.
The email that I send out on Tuesday meetings, there's a link to that outage map.
Right,
In the links, you can just click on that.
yeah, is that the standard outage map?
Yeah.
Standard outage map.
Okay, yeah,
If I may add as well, it caused issues on utility and water and waste.
Oh, I
oh,
bet.
I'm sure, yeah,
And from my understanding, they were turning power off on one end of town, turning it on the other.
Yeah, no, that's
No,
clearly, that's
exactly.
why power's going on and off.
What the issue was, and with motors that don't like to start and stop frequently, it caused all sorts of issues, so.
yeah, no.
And there
Any
was no-
permanent damage?
But that's why I think they need to hear from the
Right.
town to be reminded that there's a municipality and businesses that they can't be,
Well,
they
yeah.
can figure it out and
Right.
keep us apprised.
Well, beyond that, I mean, the fault, pardon the pun, but the fault is that they didn't, there was no communication with the
Exactly.
town, an official town
Right.
representative of what's
Yes.
going on here, that, hey, we're gonna need to turn off power, on and off power. Yeah, Tim,
Are you aware of the substation work?
yes,
Okay.
yes. In fact, I thought maybe it had something to do with, actually, I thought the first outage may have had something to do with the work they were doing there, I don't know. But all you have are, the outage map and your own account, you go and check. Doesn't give you much information on a personal basis.
Yep.
It should be, I think what we're looking for is something more on an official basis, with something like that when the town was. The only Waterville Valley, right,
Yeah.
was impacted by that for extended period of time.
When I talk to him, I'll ask him what he does in other communities when there's outages or planned disruptions. If
Right.
There's some kind of a conduit to
Right,
communicate to.
Well,
If he
it-
communicates
right.
to the businesses directly or to the town.
well, or a
How
town
does
that
that work?
can put out a notice as to what's going on, and if it's on a holiday or weekend, with DPS so that they're
They
aware.
don't tell us anything.
Yeah,
So, you
so
know,
that-
we don't get,
anything.
when I worked in Camden for 12 years. I
They
got
never
those
tell you
squirrel
anything.
Stuff, no,
No,
it's out,
Nothing,
it's out,
yeah.
they don't tell us.
right?
If it's an extended period, sometimes we'd get a notice, so we could open a warming shelter in the winter.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's
well,
about-
things
that's
like
about
that too. All right, we'll find out what, they must have a standard operating procedure for an extended outage. You would hope,
Yeah, and if not for this type of situation, they should find one, they should develop one.
Sure.
Because, you know,
Yeah.
this is unacceptable.
otherwise we're going to.
I know.
And the
Or
light.
other provider,
And
You know,
otherwise
it's
we'll send a
over.
really nasty letter.
I know, I know,
I know, but
know.
at least let them know we're thinking of them.
yes.
You had anything else on? Ex officio? On the planning board, we took care of the two appointments, the meeting on the 13th to continue the discussion over zoning amendments. There are a hefty number of them. I believe SE Group will be in on that meeting as well.
That's correct.
That's still the same, right?
Yep.
And Liz, our planner's been working on that. There are a number of working groups, et cetera, et cetera. I won't waste everyone's time on what's going on, but there's all of that, and I believe that there is an application in front of the board as well for the Adventure Zone, is it zone or center? I forget.
Venture zone.
Adventure Zone, so the planning board will be dealing with that.
Yep.
I think that's the only ex officio report I have, and I think that may be everything. Anything I have. Anybody else have anything? Dan, you haven't said
No.
anything? You have anything you'd like to bring to the table? Nothing?
Oh, no. that's
Okay,
what I said.
great. Correspondence, I think all we have something else beyond the two planning board letters
That's all.
or emails, I should say.
That's all I had for public correspondence. Yep.
All right. So I guess, unless somebody has anything else for the board, from the board, we can go into non-public session. I have a motion to go into non-public, please.
For
Legal matters,
legal, yes, so moved.
a second,
Second.
all in favor?
I
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Bill, we look forward to seeing you many times.
Yeah, would you mind?
I don't know much about it, I just got a little bit of info.
should we,
Yeah.
do we need to wait?
We gotta wait till we're off.
Yeah, it's.
We're,
Wait until it's off.
wait till the recording is off.